live from the Drew Estate Cigar Studio in Boston, Massachusetts. Welcome to the Spare Notes series with your hosts, Matt Tabacco and William Cooper.
You know, all I have to say is, now that we're here, is while it wasn't 100% right, at least I got something out of you. You gave me the hot dog. All right, I understand the pizza might not have been perfect, but you gave me the hot dog, and that's still a win
I
for
gave you
me.
an honest assessment of it. And it was a good hot dog. Now, is it the greatest hot dog? Like I was, asked to rate it. I gave it like a 6.9, which is, in my opinion, an above average hot dog. But there are some epic hot dogs that are
Like
better.
Nathan's.
But a 6.9, yeah. But I wouldn't put. This wasn't far off from a Nathan's. I'm gonna be honest with you. Nathan's. I would we have a place in Charlotte. It's called JJ's Red Hots. In my opinion, that's probably the best hot dog place I've been to in the country. We're very spoiled by it. That would probably be. There's a couple places in Chicago I'd go to as well for Chicago dogs, but JJ's Red Hots gets the hot dogs, the Salem's hot dogs from Buffalo, and they have a really good snap to them. But again, for $1.50, Matt, the Costco hot dog is totally. I've actually gone back there again. I went again with my wife on Thursday,
Did you?
and I got another one. Yeah, I got another one.
Wow. So it's good enough
shopping.
you made the return trip.
I didn't post that, but yes, I did make a return to it. And it's a good deal. It's a very good deal. And here's what I'll say: it's a big hot dog. It's not like one of these little tiny Franks you get, right? This is about like two
Some
good
beef.
sized hot dogs. It's beef in there. Yeah, it's good. It's good for if you can $1.50, you're filled up. I didn't even need the pizza the last time on that. So. But yeah, it was fine. It was. I gave you the hot dog. It's fine. The pizza wasn't like awful. It just wasn't great, but it wasn't awful. Again, for that price point, it wasn't bad. But I just thought the hot dog was much better.
Yeah. All right. That's you know what? It's still a win. It's still a win for me. You gave me some
no,
credit.
I'll give it to you. I was wrong on that. I'll give you that.
All right.
Worst the trip. Worst the trip. Absolutely. Worst the trip.
Now let me ask you a question. Outside of the food court, I mean, what'd you think about Costco in general? You gotta admit, there's some good shit
it
there.
had been a while since I've been there. They're exactly the same as always. It just stuff's on these shelves and this, So yeah. Of course, I threw some like snack foods in there. The wagon with my wife, she was all pissed about that. They have some of the They have some really good like instant ramens. Like it's not the kind you get in like the gas station. They have really good instant.
Yeah,
ramen
Nicole actually is like not like the classic foam cup like Nissan
Right,
ramen.
right.
They have like
This is
the
really
udon noodle ones and like the square packets.
Yeah,
Nicole's
yeah.
been eating those actually.
They're great. They're great, and they're for the price point. It's like you get a 6-pack for like $9. I mean,
Yeah, I mean, their bakery's awesome. The chocolate chip cookies from the Kirkland Bakery, lights out. You know what else is good too? The Danish.
Uh-huh.
The cherry and cheese Danishes they make.
Yeah.
Damn.
They had coffee there that was good. They actually brewed coffee because I went kind of early, right? Because to beat the crowd, my wife said go early, but the coffee there was pretty good to have. It's the Kirkland. I guess it's the Kirkland coffee, which is not bad coffee in my opinion. I mean, again, I'm not being a coffee snob here on this, but it's good.
Where's McTavish when you need him?
Well, I mean, we get spoiled with that coffee. He brings the whole barista kit to PCA.
Yeah, I know. That is a treat.
Yeah, I've been having conversations with him. Like if we're gonna go to Lizona Palooza, if he comes in, I said I'll come down to Florida because, he gets, he's normally not closer than 2,000 miles away from me. So if he's like 500 miles away from me, that's doable. And I told him you got to bring the barista stuff. So.
Oh yeah, he's on coffee duty. Well, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of the Spare Notes series. My name is Matt Tabacco from SmokingTobacco.com. I am joined once again by my friend Mr. William Cooper of Cigar-Coop.com. And the other boys, I can't keep it straight with them. One's in, one's out, and then one's coming, and I'm like, guys, come on, let's go.
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to cut them a little slack, Matt.
I'm giving them shit. Don't worry.
I know. I mean, I've been kind of absent for about 6 weeks now, and look, I had a trip. I had a trip to Florida. Then I had PCA, and then I needed to take a day off after PCA. And I think that going forward, I think I'm going to take a couple of weeks off after PCA because to recharge. So we actually were a little later with some of our post game content this year, and I'm glad we took a little break with that because it helped. I needed a recharge. There was after day one, I was really a miserable person to be around.
Me too. Me
And
too. As you
yeah,
know.
yeah. I mean, and it was so bad that they had the Espinoza event, the Espinoza kind of media event, and I wasn't gonna go. I said, let me go back. I said, you guys can take the car. Not that I don't want to go. I said, I just felt like I was burning myself out. They convinced me to stay, and I was glad I did. But we left early as a compromise. But yeah, I just was gonna take a mental health that night because the night before I was up late, and that was a big mistake. So. I think some mental health time after the trade show is a very good thing now.
Yeah,
So that's gonna be my new model.
I had to kind of take last weekend off. Just be like, I need to
Yeah,
break.
yeah.
I was burnt out.
You do. It's hard. It's hard.
It is, and people like from the outside looking in, they look at it like, oh, you guys are just like bloggers, media guys, like, and it's like, listen, it's a lot to do what we do because first you have to go all the way out there, and spend 18 hours a day doing everything that we do. Then you gotta come back and you gotta spend weeks sorting through it, writing it, editing it, getting it out there. I mean, it takes so much time. So much time.
Yeah. It really, there is 216 articles on Cigar Coop related to this trade show, going back to pre-trade show when the product announcement started.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a lot. That is a lot on anything, and we were talking in the green room before the show, and there's little things that people don't understand, like that. There's things that have to kind of align to get the circles. The stars have to align to get the end product, right? And if things don't align, if you're missing a piece of content, it's really tough.
Right.
And that happens sometimes. Is what we've discovered. You've discovered it. I've discovered it, and it's not an easy thing.
Yeah, I mean, like I was talking with the boys this week. They had a one of them had a booth write up, and we got it all written and edited and ready to go, and then we couldn't find any of the photos, and then it turns out that we don't know what happened to them. Maybe they weren't taken, and it's stuff like that. Then you got to pivot, and then you got to I mean, the article still has to go out, but it's just it's a lot, and then you have to go do more work to make up for that. So
yeah, and it definitely is a at night is a time I would normally do the sanity checks. Like, okay, did we get the photos for the day of the booths we covered? Are we missing anything on the photos of good quality? Well, not to sound like a broken record or complain here about it, but I guess I am, right? When they took that hour away at the end of the trade show, it was more catastrophic than you can imagine. That 1 hour was a huge difference to do those types of things, and now I don't have that hour anymore.
Mm-hmm.
So it kind of. I'm just gonna rearrange the wire here as we're talking. Yeah, it kind of sucks.
Yeah, do you think? Yeah, I mean, all in all, look, it was an exhausting show. We started some of our post game stuff on the last episode 2 weeks ago with Mitchell and Kevin. Mitchell was unable to be here tonight due to work, and Kevin's actually on the road right now in Cleveland.
Yeah.
So that's why they're not here. But as we said going forward on the last show, it's going to be myself, Coop, and Kevin on this show going forward, and Mitchell will hang back with me on the regular show. So Kevin would have been here, but like I said, he's traveling, so he wasn't able to make it this week. But he was on the last show, so we already kind of got some of his feelings on PCA at the last show, but Coop wasn't here because he took some time off. So now we've kind of flip-flopped. So now we can kind of we can talk with you and get your opinion on stuff and kind of keep that conversation go. Now, there was a couple of things I brought up in the last show that we won't kind of get back into tonight. But yeah, there was a little bit of controversy there, but that's okay. One of the things though, I am gonna bring back up, and as long as that's okay with you, Coop, and if you don't want to comment on it, it's fine. But I was curious. I mean, the three of us had this conversation, and it's specifically about the PCA, getting into the media realm with media coverage. And I don't know if you want to talk about that on
Yeah,
the show. I didn't ask you before the show, so I have to ask
No,
you
we can
now.
talk about that. That's totally fine. We can talk about that. That's fine.
I had kind of already, me and the boys had already kind of, brought it up and talked about it. For those who don't know, I mean, we weren't really fans of it. And Coop, I'm pretty sure I know where you stand too. But for us, it was kind of like, as a quick recap, and Charlie Minato and Patrick Legreed of Halfwheel.com, and Coop was there. All of us were at the press conference, right, that on Monday, with Scott and Greg, and and another question got asked. It was like, so what is up with Antoine, doing news and this and that. We are all members of the Premium Cigar Association. We all pay dues, hundreds of dollars into dues. Half Wheel pays thousands of dollars because they have a booth on the floor and they do all this other stuff, and they fly a lot of people out. So we're all spending money to be members of an organization that is now competing against us. And so, and Coop, I know that you have some feelings on this topic as well, and I figured I'd start it off by just kind of getting that out of the way.
Yeah, so for folks who don't know I'm going to give you a little context of the background here. The PCA hired a guy by the name of Antoine Reed, who used to be with the TPE organization. He was the editor of Tobacco Business, and they hired him to be a chief content editor. I want to say this: Antoine's one of the classiest individuals in cigar media or just in the cigar industry that I know. So I have enormous respect for him, both personally and professionally, and I mean that very sincerely. When he was at TPE, he went above and beyond to help people. I mean, so I just want to, and I want to be real sensitive on it because, again, I like him personally and professionally.
And I did stress this on the last episode when this came up. I said, this is not about Antoine, because at the end of the day, Antoine was hired to do a job, and he's doing his job.
Right.
It's not his fault. I put the blame on the PCA for doing it to begin with.
All right. The one thing that you and I may disagree on, I'm not sure necessarily if they're hurting me competitively just yet. There are a couple isolated cases there's been, but I'm not really seeing them make a footprint on it. But there are a couple cases that it has crossed paths already. And my question is, I don't understand why a resource. So when he was hired, I figured he was going to be working on the PCA website, maybe getting the legislation word out, those types of things.
Doing some social media.
What I didn't expect was basically they were going to be starting to request press releases and do what we do. Okay. Again, I don't really consider them. They're not getting the traffic I'm getting. I'm not trying to be arrogant here. They're not. Okay. But there are a couple cases where the swords have crossed, okay? Namely, when there's stuff being published that's exclusive on my end, okay? That's when I'm like, whoa, I mean, what are we doing here? But I also, in general, will question why okay, take the competition thing aside. My question is, why are my dues going to fund this? Because I'm paying, and now I'm paying my competition, essentially, right? And it just doesn't set right with me on that. That's where I'm having a real issue with this.
Well, Coop, I want to add to this right now while these two comments.
Right.
So Wayne Clark and Alan Rubin have both made comments, about the retailers, have made complaints about like they don't know what's going on or like it's another. But here's the thing: the PCA should be directing them to the media outlets whose job it is to do it.
And we know that this came up in the press conference too about the complaints. And one thing that Scott, and I'm not trying to say this because we were there, right? But you heard it and I heard it, and I think anyone in the media will vouch. Scott said these complaints were there, but they weren't against the people who were in that room, because anyone who's in that room has proper credentials and has worked to do the right things there. This is a separate issue than the Antoine issue, though. Let's not cross the swords here. The Antoine issue is that has nothing to do with the Antoine issue. The Antoine issue is not even a trade show issue. It's a general issue that's going on.
Right. And it's funny because I actually had a conversation with someone, and maybe it was you, or maybe it was one of my guys. It was one of you guys.
Uh-huh.
Actually. It was one of you three. But I remember saying, like, at the show this year, unless there's new people in the game who I just don't recognize, a lot of the other media, I didn't really see a lot of the people floating around.
There were. I mean, I saw how many people with manufacturer badges doing interviews, right? I saw it actually quite frequently. And then, of course, there's the retailers who come in and they want to do content, right? Which I understand why they want to do content.
Yeah, I saw retailers with microphones, and I'm like,
I
what's
don't know
going
why
on
they're
here?
not. Yeah, I mean, and there's some very good ones that are out there. I mean, look, for example, although he wasn't doing interviews at the trade show, Cigar Authority is a legitimate media outlet in terms of their production and everything.
Oh, Wayne, don't worry, we are. I do read his comment. Yeah, that is annoying.
The Neptune guys are very good media guys. They do really good interviews, so I'm not knocking those. But there were other guys who we know basically look. We've seen it happen. They're calling up. They're getting manufacturer badges, and then they're off doing their own thing. That's where the issue is with that. And until PCA addresses stop giving these companies all these badges, that's the only way you're going to solve it, Matt. You gotta make it more difficult to get a badge, and they're never going to do that because they're afraid to do that. Like my solution is simple: cut the number of badges down for the manufacturers, and if a manufacturer truly needs more badges, let them submit a justification. Don't charge them for it, but let them have a legitimate justification. These are where the badges are going. Who's going to use them? They don't want to do that. Instead, they're going to try to police this, which I don't think is the answer. I think they need to cut the badges. You have to get to the root cause of the problem. The root cause of the problem is there's too many badges that are available for free.
Well, the other problem is it's like then people get on us for talking shit about it, and it's like, well, because you have to understand something. What happens is that minority group of people goes in with their phones to do whatever the hell it is that they want to do, which is most of the time unprofessional. And what happens? The manufacturers all complain, all right? And here's the reality, and this is what you all need to know. They all bitch and moan to us about it. They don't do it publicly because they don't want people to hear them bitching about it, but they bitch about it, and that's the truth. And the reason is because they're there to make money, and then they get interrupted. I can't tell you how many manufacturers have come to me personally to complain and be like, I lost sales over this. Like I lost money.
I think that's so overrated, Matt, when they say that. I honestly do. I mean,
but regardless, that's not me saying it though. That's what they're telling me. So that's what I'm reporting on. But I'm just saying, like, manufacturers complain about it. Then they complain about the PCA. So then what happens is then, okay, well, there's this thing going, and then we all get put into this umbrella of the media people. So what it goes back to is, we complain about those people because they cause all of us to get put into this bubble of discipline, and it's like it's not fucking fair because with the rest of us.
But Matt, I'm not. Okay, I hear you, but also, and I'm not trying to sound. I'm not worried about that anymore. I was worried about that 5 years ago with Cigar Coop, but I think we've established ourselves and our team and what we do, and I think you're there too, Matt. Where I don't think we have to worry about being lumped into that anymore. And here's the other thing I'll say. If there's a retailer that got frustrated with a manufacturer over a sale from a rogue media member or a legitimate media member, please contact me. I want to interview you. And I want to get the whole detail from the retailer. Because I've never heard a retailer say, I got frustrated because of a media guy there and left. I have not ever heard a retailer say that to me.
Yeah.
So I don't buy that this is a widespread problem. I buy that it's a distraction to the manufacturers and it's annoying. I lost a sale. I'm not buying that one. I've never heard a retailer say, and I've asked multiple retailers this. Never happens. They want the product in the end. They want to get a deal no matter what. I think it's a little exaggerated, this manufacturer thing.
Oh, okay, that's fair enough.
But if I'm wrong, prove me wrong. I want to talk to a retailer where this has happened to. And maybe there's one I could think, one case, but that deal went through. Is what I'll say.
So I want
to hear from a manufacturer or retailer in specifics here.
And I also want to address this. So Alan Rubin said, is it wrong when manufacturers give badges away to celebrities to walk around and get free cigars? No. And the reason is, at least in my opinion, and Coop, I'll let you chime in, but I don't think so, because to me, I think it's good to have the celebrities around because celebrities bring awareness to our industry, and I think that's very important. And also, when celebrities are there, they're not causing trouble. If anything, people are causing trouble with them because they want to meet them and all that, which I don't think really happens, but they usually
In
get
the
left
end, that should
alone.
be. In the end, what I think the decision for that should be a PCA decision. So, for example, I'll just say if I'll give an example right at home here. Aaron Nielsen's father is Rick Nielsen, the founder of Cheap Trick. Okay, if they came to me saying, "Can Rick Nielsen have a badge?" Right, I would go to Scott Pierce and say, "Scott, can we get Rick Nielsen into the trade show? And then how does that badge get allocated?"
Mhm.
Okay. And if it's one I have to pay for, like, by the way, I would pay for Rick Nielsen to come into the trade show
Oh,
because they
yeah.
probably want they don't want Rick wandering around himself. Like, just, so it's got to come from, but I would have the PCA make that decision there. So it's not like just someone's handing a badge. And you know what? Rick Nielsen can have all the free cigars he wants at that point. There's nothing wrong with that, right?
I don't think any manufacturer would have a problem being like, yo,
No,
here you
no,
go.
but I think, but I
Big
think
fan.
but yeah, I know one thing. I wouldn't just go sign Rick Nielsen up for a badge without talking to the PCA, and I think that's how it should be.
And that's
now, if
fair.
you have
And
another
that's
case
fair.
like Guy Fieri, Guy Fieri's a brand owner. It's a little different. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, there was a lot of celebrities at the show this year. Chaz Palminteri was
Yeah.
there. Guy Fieri was there. I saw Chad Johnson was there with his own. He was exhibiting.
Alonzo Mourning was there.
Alonzo Mourning. I bumped into Carl Malone, who has a cigar with La Aurora. So mostly people who have cigars, like they have actually a reason to be there. But I met Russell Peters, for those who don't know, big time comedian, at the Rocky Patel booth a few years ago, who I'm a fan of. I bumped into him at the trade show. I know that there's been others in the past. I know other celebrities like Arnold Schwarzenegger has walked around that trade show floor before. But again, in my opinion, I think the celebrities being on the show floor is great because it shows, it's bringing that awareness.
Yeah, I'd let him in like something like an ambassador badge or something.
Yeah.
Where again, there shouldn't be you shouldn't be charging these guys to come in, especially someone who just wants, like when Rick Ross. Now I know who Rick Ross is. When Rick Ross was on the trade show floor,
Ricky
I'm
Rose.
assuming again. Yeah, but again, someone I'm assuming would have a I don't think this is we have to go back door to get Rick Nielsen a badge. That shouldn't be the case. These people should be welcome into the trade show, and in this case, but it should be something that the PCA signs off on. That I think is more than fair to do that.
Yeah, no, I agree. And I said that to Chaz Palminteri when we were talking with him at the show, and I was like, another thing that's great about you being here, I'm like, full honesty, I'm like, you're a celebrity. Like, it is what it is. I was like very direct with them. Like, you're a celebrity. Everybody knows who the fuck you are. I'm like, you being involved with the industry is good because it brings more awareness to our industry. And we have, we have enemies with the government who tries to regulate us. And he actually looked at me and he was like, he goes, he goes, I really like what you said there. And he was like, that actually makes me feel even better about being involved because he goes, I feel like I'm doing something important for a bigger picture. I go, well, yeah. I'm like, it is. It's a good thing. I'm like, people know who you are and you can bring more attention to an issue that maybe people don't know about or bring light to an industry that people don't necessarily follow a lot of. And he really appreciated that. He's like, I really appreciate you saying that. And I'm like, it's true. It's true. 100%.
Well, I just had Steve Wilkes on Primetime last week, and he's the former head coach of the Carolina Panthers. He's now a defensive coordinator for the San Francisco 49ers. And, I did a prep call with him, and he was kind of curious why I wanted to talk to him. And I kind of explained it, that we really want people like you to kind of, participate in what we do. And it was important to do that. And, he kind of got it. Yeah, he's like, yeah. And obviously, with all the stuff going on, the more mainstream attention we have, the better. So these are people that we want in there. We don't want to throw roadblocks. Now, the problem is, where do you draw the line, right? On terms of this, there's quasi-celebrities, and that's why the PCA needs to sign off on this stuff. It shouldn't be Cigar Coop or McAuliffe or the Gurkha or anyone deciding who gets in. It should be the PCA who decides who gets these badges. And then they have to probably be assigned a babysitter, is what I would say. Said they have to be escorted.
Yeah.
So that would be usually you'll have the escort be the person who wanted them to get in the first place.
Which also is not bad either, because then you can have people to, keep people away from them too when they get mobbed. It's like,
well, yeah. I mean, if you saw Guy Fieri this year, right? So I thought Espinosa did something very good this year. I think they did a great job again. But this year, if you notice, they took Guy Fieri on a tour of the show floor the second day he was there.
yeah,
So as opposed to having him in the booth, and they had a security detail around him, and Juan Cancel was on security detail. I mean, this is one. If you saw Juan Cancel on security detail, you would think he was possessed and taken over by another person. This was not the Juan Cancel we know. This was like Juan Cancel, police officer Juan Cancel.
right.
Very serious, right? Like, not goofing off. Well, once Guy Fieri left the show, it was back. We got the old Juan Cancel back, right? Photo bombing and taking selfies. But no, Juan was, Eric brought him in to do security for Guy when they did that. So yeah, they had to have people, and that's totally understandable. Again, considering the reception Guy got around the show floor.
Dude, even Eric Espinosa looks like a bodyguard. I mean,
Yeah,
you got Eric Espinosa and Juan Cancel. Like, no one's fucking with
There
you.
were others on detail. I know Hector's son did it last year.
Okay.
Hector Alfonso Jr.
Yep.
did the security last year at the show for him. So yeah, they had to have
Hector
a
also
security
another
team.
former police officer as well.
Yeah, but Hector actually wasn't going to be leaving the booth in this case. No, I mean it didn't make in this case it didn't make sense for him to leave the booth, right? So they and by the way, I thought they walking around the show floor. Espinosa did another great job with that. I think that was great because I think it kind of showed it showed the community of the industry. I thought it was really good. Even though we had one of our interviews interrupted, but it wasn't done on purpose. I can tell you that. So.
Yeah, this year we actually were pretty good. Last year we had. Last year I was at Perdomo. We were in the middle of the conversation, and this guy looked at us, and just kept walking, looked at us again, and walked right into the shot. And Nick just did a pause, yeah. So the tobacco.
Yeah, no, it's totally okay when we're interrupted by other people and we're doing our meeting. This is that's my pet peeve is we won't interrupt business. Okay, I understand, but once we are engaged with that manufacturer, I expect the same respect in return.
Yeah.
So unless it's an emergency situation with a customer or something or personal emergency, I would get that. But in general, I expect that same respect. And I gotta say, it used to be worse. It's gotten a lot better the last few years, I think. With it, so it's not. I don't think it's a problem anymore. It was a problem 3 or 4 years ago. I gotta be honest with you, but it seems like now people are just getting more cognizant of it.
So we're gonna get kind of off of the influencer thing, but Dan Thompson is with us, which I love that he's here, and he's got this thing on here that he's kind of building on, and he says, question for you guys: let's say a real top 1% influencer, 50 million followers, wants to come to PCA because they are brother leaf, sister leaf, would you support? And he said, let's say a major e-gamer, for example, not traditional star, but huge untapped community. Let's say positive social and pro cigars, not like a porn star. Yeah, I mean,
why not? Yeah, I don't have a problem with that.
Yeah, I mean, that's fine, especially if they're like a truly known person. Here's the other thing that I don't think a lot of people out there realize is that half of these cigar influencers, most of them who are females, although they're not all females, a lot of them, those followers you see, well, she's got 30,000 followers. That's not accurate because you can buy artificial accounts to follow you to make it look like you have this massive following. You can buy likes on your posts, so you look like you're really popular, but you're really not. It's true. It's very true. It's a real thing.
We could tell very easily. I mean, you and I can look at the numbers and say legitimate or not legitimate, very easily.
Yeah.
Because there's only so many people that consume this content.
And if Nicole's still watching on here, she can comment and explain because she knows the system very well.
Yeah. It's don't get fooled by that, and.
Because I've had some people go, yeah, but she's got 30,000 followers. It's no, she doesn't. She's got 4,000 at best.
Yeah, no,
she got 4 at best.
Because you would get like if you see someone with 30,000 followers, the comments would reflect that. You know what I mean? So you'd see if you have someone with 3,000 followers and 30,000 followers, right? If that's 10 times the amount, you should have almost 10 times the amount of comments, maybe even 5 times the amount of comments. And when you see you don't hardly any comments out there, you could tell right away. It's very easy to do that. Yeah. So, and we the other thing on Cigar Coop, and I'm very forthright on this, is our YouTube numbers are low because we age restricted. We're age restricted. So guess what?
Us
age
too.
Restricted is, yeah, you're gonna have lower YouTube numbers, and we do. So, we're trying to do the right thing here and abide by, YouTube, and we don't want to show we don't have use getting to this. So we are gonna have lower numbers. It's just and most people understand that too. I mean, other platforms we have more age. We don't have those restrictions.
Right. We don't really do it on social media, but
we do. The Coop page, you have to be 21 to look at the Coop page on Facebook. So
I didn't even know you could do it on Facebook. I just assumed that you didn't. I mean, YouTube I know, but
yeah, no, you have you can do it. Yeah,
that's good to know.
Yep.
That's good to know.
Yeah, it's good to know. It's a lot of these people, and I'll say this, there are some very good influences out there. There really are. So I have always said this. I've never been against influences coming into the trade show, as long as there is a process to kind of vet them, which is the same with media. And we've gone through this like the last few years already, and that's how I feel. There are some very good influences out there that I think could benefit from the trade show. But I noticed a lot of people on the media side are trying to become influencers this year. Have you noticed that?
Mm-hmm. I did.
Like
some
everyone
like
wants
real
to do
name
a TikTok
people.
and Instagram reel. Okay.
I think Dojo
But
was doing that too. They went the influencer route.
That's not a knock, by the way. That's not a knock. But I am noticing that there's a little bit of creep back into that area. Look, we did it with Smoking Syndicate with Ben. Is we put a YouTube channel for YouTube reviews out there. We did the same thing, so I'm not criticizing this at all.
I mean, I shared photos on the Smoking Tobacco social media accounts, but that was more like it was just because it was fast and easy for me to get some stuff out there to show people what's coming, so that way when our articles and stuff drop, it's like, oh, like if you see this and you think it's cool, like when the articles drop, go read them.
Yeah. But I am just saying that there is these lines are blurred at times because, again, you'll see and the Dojo guys, they did a really good one at James Brown's booth at Ojeda Negro Brands. There's some good stuff, but and I'll see some of these influencers sometimes try to do an interview. And some are better than others. So go figure.
Here's a comment that I want to get your opinion on. The written word is dying art form, sadly. Now, I know
Who said that?
Alan Rubin.
Oh, well, hey, we had over 1 million people read Cigar Coop last year. We were up 29%. Next topic. Not dying. Next topic.
People like to read.
We had a 29% increase in the traffic on the website. It's not dying. It's just that less people are doing it.
Right.
But it's being consumed. Trust me.
Every year, Smoking Tobacco triples its traffic year over year for the last 4 years, and it's it's amazing how fast it grows. And again, it's not that people don't want to read it. There's less people doing it. We've built our foundation. We've started to really pop, and the numbers are there. I mean, it's true. I mean, I've talked to Charlie Brooks and Patrick about and it's stuff I won't really repeat publicly, but I've talked to them about kind of stuff at Half Wheel, and I can tell you that no, that's not true.
I mean, believe me. Why do you think we invest so much time in the written piece? Because we want to? No, because there's a high ROI on that piece that you wouldn't believe. And like I said, I've been doing this for 13 years, and I can tell you, I've looked at me, Matt. I look at everything analytically, every pattern, and if I see something isn't working, what do? I cut it out.
Yep.
Like shop exclusive stuff, I
TAA.
cut that out. Right? TAA, I cut that out. Booth coverage this year, I went less booze coverage this year. Actually, we actually ended up with more because some had multiple videos, but we went less booze coverage because I saw that there was this layer of booze that weren't getting me the ROI. So it is not dying, and the fact that less people are doing written is a benefit to you and me, Matt, because there's more people reading our stuff now.
True.
So I'm glad there's less competition. And Matt, I'm going to be honest. I don't understand why everyone invests in the video coverage. It's more expensive, right? It's the ROI is not as good. So I keep questioning every year why we're doing video. Why don't we just do written pieces? Because it's just we'll kill it on that alone. But I get there's we could show another dimension with that too.
Yeah, I mean we have, for us we have, especially having a bigger team now, we have more people involved, to do more, and so and we would like to have both options, and we get great response on both options, but sorry, I needed some water. My mouth was dry.
Yeah.
But, we get great response on both avenues, so we continue to do so.
Now, I will admit we won't have 29% growth this year, but we will have growth. I mean, but 29% growth last year was I mean, when I was like, to hit those numbers I hit last year, we've never, like you said, I've never had a decrease in online audience readership, page views, or visitors in 13 years. So it is not dying. And
as of today, we have already surpassed where we were at the end of the year last year.
Yeah.
We did that June 1.
I mean,
we blew past the end of year last year by June 1 this year. I mean, it's amazing how every year it multiplies. We're gonna at the pace we're at. And I mean, it's still early in the year, and God knows what else comes up. That major news stories that get, things that happen that are giant spikes in traffic as well. Shit happens, as you know. But I mean, at this current rate, I mean, we're gonna end the year like 3 times what we had last year. I mean, maybe more. I mean,
Now, why a lot of us are concerned about going back to Antoine is someone who's kind of in the written space, right? So that does affect some things, right? It affects a lot of the guys who haven't built up to where I have yet. I could see that being an impact on that, and again, I have to question why that's happening. It's a fair, or a lot of times we're working on exclusive stories, and then suddenly we put the exclusive story out, and it shows up an hour later somewhere else.
Mm-hmm. Which
I expect that from Charlie and Halfwheel. I don't expect it from my trade organization.
Yeah, and when Charlie does it, it's frustrating. But I also I'm not like fuck Charlie. Like I'm like, well, I mean, I get it because we do it too. Like
Charlie
it's
has
part
never
of what we
blocked
do.
the media. He has never told a manufacturer, "Don't give the story to someone." I could tell you that.
Yeah,
like he'll ask
true.
for an exclusive. I know that's true too. So
yeah.
No, that's not the. I can't say that about other publications.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, but I can say that about Halfwheel. And if anyone wants to bash them, I'm just telling you that they have, so if they do it, I expect them to do it. I don't expect my trade organization to do that though. That I'm paying into. I'm paying dues into.
You know what? And just on, and I'm gonna say this just because, I have a great relationship with the guys over there, and I know there's a lot of people.
I do too.
I know there's a lot of people who read the reviews, especially the ones that Charlie himself does. And I know at times people get all mad at Charlie, and people like to make fun of him, and like to give him a hard time. First of all, I'm going to tell you right now, he could give 2 shits about if you guys don't like what he writes. I can tell you that. But at the same time, it's like, they, like Coop and myself and, a few others out there who, do kind of like the same that we do. Look, Charlie, at the end of the day, he... And the other guys too, but I know I always hear Charlie's name. At the end of the day, he tries to be fair. You got to be critical sometimes, and that's the thing that I try to explain to people. I feel like I have to explain this to people all the time. Being in the media is not about kissing ass; it's about reporting on stuff. Granted, there's a lot of good stuff most of the time, and yes, if something's good, we can say it. But as people know, and I'm not afraid to say negative things, people know that, and I'm not trying to be an asshole. Charlie's not trying to be an asshole, but when there's negative stuff, you got to say it because you can't. Not everything can just be good all the time. So like if you like Charlie does a review on a cigar and he gives it a 73, he didn't do that because he's like, well, fuck them, I'm gonna sink this. It's because we smoked 3 samples, they did not burn, they fell apart. I mean, what do you want me to say? That's
Yeah.
fair, and I expect the same from my guys. I expect the same from Coop. Coop's done it. Kevin's done it. When he's done reviews for other, websites before he came to us. Like, it's part of it. I mean, there's gonna be negativity sometimes, and we don't do it because it's, we're not out to get anybody. And at the end of the day, I know those guys on a personal level, as I do with many other media guys, and they really are good people. I can tell you that right now. I mean,
They're
very good people. Like, I can't tell you how much fun I had talking with Charlie and Brooks at the trade show. I mean, they're good people, but they're also fair. And if something is not stacking up, I mean, they're going to say it. They're not going to lie to you and be like, oh, no,
Right.
it's great. Because at the end of the day, where's the journalistic integrity in that? And that's why, like, when I come on the show and I say things and people don't like it, again, I'm not doing it to be any kind of way. It's like, well, I feel like this is a problem, or this cigar didn't perform, or like this thing didn't have. It's just me being honest. Same thing with Abe. Everybody knows Abe's honest Abe, right, Coop? You're on KMA. I mean,
Yeah.
Abe says things that, sometimes people don't like what Abe says. But, you got to respect that, because at the end of the day, he doesn't hide. He's like, oh, like, this fucking sucks. Like, that's, it is what it is.
Yeah.
I'm not going to lie about it. And I like that. I appreciate honesty. So,
Yeah.
I mean, I feel like you could agree with that.
Yeah, there's 2 things I want to add to that. So first up is, don't call me and complain about the score Charlie gave you without calling Charlie first. Don't call me on that, right? I have to say that every time. Like, why are you telling me this? If you had a conversation with him, no. Well, have a conversation with him. Well, what do you think? I said, it doesn't matter what I think. That's his site, right? It's not my bit. He doesn't. I'm sure he would give the same answer back from me, right?
Mhm.
So that's one thing. Now, there was actually a little thing that happened this week. That all of a sudden, I start getting messages. I was doing the show Tuesday night with Bear.
Yep.
And I get all these messages. Charlie Minato attacked you in his editorial. Did you see what Charlie wrote about you? Did you see? So I went and looked at it, and it wasn't an attack. Okay, it was. When I selected my 2 companies at a trade show,
Yeah.
it was Fords and Altus.
Yeah.
He disagreed with it. All right, that's all he did.
Fine.
He disagreed with it. He was and he said, I didn't think this was a good pick, and here's why. It wasn't an attack on me. It wasn't an attack on my credibility. It was, he gave a differing opinion of that. He's allowed to. Guess what? He is allowed to do that.
Part of the
That
game.
was not but people want to try to create this drama that, look, if Charlie wrote in the article, Will Cooper is a moron for pick, that's a different story. No, this is like, he thought these were ambitious picks, and in the end he said he didn't think there was wow. He had some valid things in there. I don't disagree with him on that.
Yeah.
So, but he's entitled to do that. And guess what? It got me more traffic on my website. So won't I get complained?
I'm not gonna lie. Like, again, like, I can't tell you how many times I've gotten, advice from those guys, and they've given me information to help me. They're not out to get anybody. Like,
No, they're out. Look, don't even. They're out. They're competitive. Okay.
Yeah, they
And
are.
They will be very aggressive, but
It's
they're
business.
not out to sabotage. No, they're not out to sabotage. I spent, I've gotten to know most of those guys. Brian's the only guy I really don't know well.
Yeah, I don't know.
But
Brian either.
I spent a week in Nicaragua with Patrick, and we traveled around most of the tour and Puro Sabor together. So I've been invited to Half Wheel headquarters at times. So there's nothing, but we are competitors. Don't get us wrong. We're still competitors, and we're not going to give trade secrets to each other either.
Right.
But if look, if they need a photo, he needs a photo. That's something we'll do. That's not anything that would have an issue.
I can't
with,
tell you how many times, Coop, Charlie, Brooks, Patrick, any of the other guys have said to me, like, if you ever need anything, just let us know.
I even told you this year you should have tapped into me on a couple of things with it. And I said, look, you should have tapped into me on this one.
Yeah, I know.
So I know you guys try to do a lot on your own. It's great, but we're here to help you guys too.
Yeah, and we appreciate that. And it's the same for us. I mean, I had a conversation with Brooks about something, and he's like, "Oh yeah, if you ever need any, just let us know. Like, don't like we'll help you out." And I'm like, "Oh, thanks." Like, you appreciate that because, and again, the reason why I'm talking about this is because I'm trying to paint the picture. Like, don't assume that people are bad people. They're not. There are people who are very analytical and critical,
Right.
and I think that that's fair. Again, as long as it's done in a respectful way.
We do analytical. I mean, that's how we are. If you're, the funny thing is when I get a new company want me to review their cigar, the first thing I say to them is like, well, how come you didn't tell me about your cigar first? Like, you want me to review it, but if you would have told me about it, I could give you press on it early on.
Yeah.
And they said, well, we want to get the awareness to the review. I said, you'll get awareness, but I'm not guaranteeing you a good review. I've had some companies say, go ahead and do that. A few companies have said, please don't. And that's fine. But now, actually, now I have more strict criteria if you're a first-time company wanting a review. So I had to put that in.
I had somebody call me this week. And, they're like, oh, I want to tell you about my brand and this and that. And I'm like, okay, that's cool. That's fine.
Yeah.
And I'm sure you've gotten this before too. It started off with them thinking that we were a retailer, and I'm like, well, we're not a retailer. We're media. So I'm like, we can still help you, but not in the way you originally thought. And then the conversation changed. And it was like, oh, okay. And I'm like, I mean, if you want, us to check out the brand and then put us on your media list and make sure that we, get information and we can cover it. And, it ended with, like we got on their media list that they have, and, they sent some stuff out to Kevin for, him to check out and maybe review. And, and that's how the process goes. So, yeah, I mean, it's what we do, though. We cover brands, we talk about brands, we check brands out, we kind of figure out what's what. I mean, that's what we do. So.
Yeah, I mean, it was, but, when it gets to trade show time, it's really interesting.
Yeah, the trade show throws a wrench into everything.
Because now they all want you to come visit them when they ignore you 361 the rest of the year. The other 361 days of the year, now the 4 days of the trade show. And guess what? There were a lot of people I had to prioritize ahead of these people. I want to visit everyone at the trade show, right? But how do I skip someone who constantly is supporting us? And every year it happens with one or two booths.
Mm-hmm.
It happens every year. And we've made arrangements. Like I missed Matt Booth this year at the trade show. We did not, and Matt and I did a Zoom. We did a Zoom call with him though after the trade show to work it out. We talked because I reached out to a few of these people and we were really disappointed. But it wasn't Matt's fault. I'm not blaming Matt, right? But we went and did a Zoom call, and we still did everything we did. We had a Zoom call with him on that. So it happens. But if the best way to kind of get ensure that we're going to visit you at the trade show is communicate with us 365 days a year. That's what I tell people.
Yeah.
I'm just not because the problem is I'd love to use the time at the trade show to come in, sit down, chat, and get to know you. In reality, I just can't do that. You can't do that.
We don't
There's
have
not enough time.
No.
We don't have time to do that.
No.
Which is why we spent no time at the Boutique Cigar Association this year. I did walk through it and write some notes, but I didn't visit any companies in there because I just couldn't.
Same with me. I mean, it wasn't like a knock or like I didn't think that they were.
No.
But it's like the reality is, I appreciate what they're trying to do, but how do I say this so people don't try to turn this around on me? How many booths are on the trade show floor, roughly?
200.
200? Yeah. I mean, before you even count them. I mean, and the reality is at the end of the day, the other part of what we do too is we talked about before is traffic based, and Padron, Fuente, Casada, Ferriotego, Espinosa. I mean, we got to make sure we hit them first. It's just the truth. We got to hit them first. And if there's time, yes, we would go to. But we didn't have time. Even with a 4-man team, we didn't have time.
Here's a great example, Matt. We didn't get to interview George Padron this year. We did go to the booth. We talked to people in the booth. We actually asked to interview someone else, and they said everything had to go through George on that. And we respected that, but we still did a booth write-up on it.
Yep.
I mean, that's still, and that's like I said, that's just a reality that Padron is they're in a position in the marketplace where I could do that, and it's nothing against a smaller company. I just can't do that with you yet. I mean, I just, if the trade show was 10 days, I can do it with you guys. And Padron is a huge traffic draw on our website. Fuente and Padron are huge, as is Drew Estate in general. And if we don't,
Oliva.
I got to say this. So there were 2 people who went to Oliva this year, didn't go last year. You and Dojo went there. The Dojo guys
a lot of time there too.
And how now it may take a couple minutes to get to the right person in the Oliva booth, but they were great, and they wanted us to be in the booth. It's the thing, they actually were telling us, we want you guys here. And I said, and I think they understood some of the challenges they had with some previous people who were working there too. But again, how you're skipping Oliva over, and again, I don't want to single out a company, but they're a company, you got to cover Oliva. And now that they were really glad to see us. And I said last year, that was the same reaction we got last year with them. But you went there and the Dojo guys went there. So it was,
and
I had
went
predicted. Well, I said, besides Halfwheel, myself, and Cigar Aficionado, what was the over-under of companies going to Oliva? I said 1.5, and I took the under. So I lost. It was actually 2 that I saw.
Yeah, I mean, and I had said this before. I mean, in years past, I went to the Oliva booth several times at each show, and it just we couldn't get with anybody and couldn't make it happen, and we chose not to waste any more time. But I had a conversation with Coop, and I was like, all right, and I went into this trade show and I go, look, we got to make Oliva happen. And we showed up at the booth and they were busy, but they made it happen. And they made it happy. We were there. They gave us everything we needed. They took the time. They went around with us. I had my camera guy taking photos, and they walked him around and said, shoot this, shoot this, shoot this. We'll take
generous
it out of the
with
case.
the samples.
We'll take it out of the case.
Too.
Yeah. I mean, we'll take it out of the case, whatever you want. You want the box open? You want the box closed? They did everything we needed. I mean, I can't thank them enough.
And like I said, I just get so disappointed when I see media people not go to that booth. It's a good booth, right? It's a good brand. There's good people there. They have good products.
The traffic on that booth is insane.
But people, there's not a flashy name there is the issue. And a lot of people who are going there and strictly doing the video piece, they're very personality-driven coverage, and it's not sexy for them to go there. So they don't go there. Like even Dojo, he didn't talk to anyone at the Oliva booth. That's what I was saying. But he did do a booth walkthrough, which I did like, because what I liked about those booth walkthroughs he did is it gave me a little bit of vibe of the show, which is something I think we didn't do a good job again this year on the Coop team. But you know how I'm into that vibe, and I think those booth tours were very good vibe pieces. So good for them for going is what I'm going to say.
Yeah. There was a lot of booths that I kind of had that feeling with, that I felt were on. It wasn't just Oliva. I mean, there was other booths I felt were in years past a little underrated in terms of the media coverage, and I wanted to make sure that we weren't a part of that because a lot of these guys, they deserve to be covered. I mean, and they were good to us, so I mean, you can't complain.
I mean, again, I saw very few people go to Miami Cigar booth. I saw very few people. There were a few people went to the La Aurora booth this year, but very few went to Miami Cigar. Ashton, very few. And Ashton, Andy's been great with us every year we go there.
He takes great care of us.
By the way, go there day 3 is the key thing, because he gets less busy. He told us that.
Yep. That's when I hit him.
Yeah, you hit them, and they are great. I don't see the Ashton coverage at all, but and again, I don't want to say there's some brands I just don't understand the attraction to cover them.
I smoked the La Roma de Cuba, Connecticut. That's pretty fucking good.
That was our cigar of the show. We had Nielsen had gone home. He had to go home, unfortunately, early.
Right.
Ben and Bear and I, we said that was on the floor, our cigar of the show. I do think there may be another cigar that I had after the show that might be up there too.
Perdomo 30th.
I didn't have the Perdomo 30th.
Oh, you haven't?
We didn't get any.
You didn't get any?
No, we didn't get any.
Oh no.
We figured it was limited. No, well, it's okay. We'll get. I mean, we'll get. I mean,
I know, but it's a great cigar. Damn.
I'm sure it is. Well,
I got one right here.
No, I'm fine. No, it's good. I'm glad you got it. I don't get wrapped around the axle. I didn't get a sample of that, right?
Oh no, I didn't mean it like that. I just
Yeah.
I didn't mean it like that. I was just surprised. I was just surprised you didn't get one.
Well, yeah. I mean, what day did you go to the booth though?
Day 3, I think.
We went day 1, and to be honest with you, I didn't ask, right? Because
I didn't ask.
I
either.
figured they have limit. No, I mean, but they may have. Well, Gate 3 they might know what their sample thing
That's
was
true.
at that point.
That's
right?
true. And I
So
know they
that's
don't have
why-
a lot of them.
No, and like I said, anything I've asked from Perdomo, they're great. I wasn't even worried about it. But no, I didn't. I mean, last year we looked out at the My Father booth. We got the Le Bijou 100 Años cigars.
Oh, and I know how you
So-
feel about that.
And you know that's an epic cigar.
That's
By the way-
that's a contender for you, I think.
Absolute contender. Yeah, I mean, My Father was a booth I felt that really flew under the radar this year. Would you agree?
Yes, and
I think
I'll tell ya,
they had the yeah.
their partnership thing that they're doing with Pete for the 20th. That's like the
Wasn't
Fuente
ta-
Padron.
Where was the
Dude,
media coverage?
that
Where was the
is-
media coverage on that? But where was
Granted,
the media coverage?
granted, I haven't finished my Father booth right
No,
up
I
thing,
know, but I know you would have.
and it's coming out. It's
coming.
coming out. I got to finish
Yeah,
it. But
The
dude,
only
I
other
mean,
person I saw cover it was Half Wheel and Bob the Cigar Guy. Good job by Bob the Cigar Guy, I'm going to say on that.
yeah,
But where was all these guys at the? That was the product of the show. If that was that in the Perdomo 30s, right? But this was Fuente Padron. This was like the Fuente Padron collaboration to me. I mean,
and it was a
had
great
very-
one too because it's Pete and Pepin.
was-
I mean,
and
That's
it
cool.
Was beautiful. Yeah, but the way it displayed. I mean, the Perdomo one I think is going to be a much more impactful release because it's going to be something over the next 10 years. It's going to be a big line for them. But this was kind of like this really special collaboration. You know, it was just like a work of art. And I just, the thing is, a lot of people went to the Pete's booth, and Pete didn't talk about that much in his booth. He talked a little if you asked him, right? But he kind of left that to the Garcias on their booth.
Yep.
And I said, so many people go to Pete's booth and not go to the Garcia booth.
we were fortunate. We actually got all 3 generations of the Garcia family.
So yeah, because we had
Um,
awards, and that lucked out
as
for
we
us,
did
too.
too, because they were our factory there, as I believe they were yours as well, right?
They were ours. Yep.
Yep. So
Yep.
we presented them with their
And they were-
Factory of
and
the
they were-
Year award.
They were so nice to us. Like they were very like you could see they were genuinely happy. We had Jose Ortega did the translating for us because they don't speak. The thing is they don't speak English, so it's not like it's
Yeah.
hard for them to interact with people. And that's a rare thing that you got and I got to get interaction with them because again with the language thing, it's hard to have them talk to everybody.
And I have to say, just a huge shout out to Pete Johnson, who helped facilitate that. As many people know, and maybe people don't know, Yanni Garcia, Pepin's daughter, is Pete's wife. So, Pete is actually.
See, I'm
related
surprised
to
you.
them.
I'm surprised you even needed an assist on that. Because I just went up and I asked. I just went up and asked for help, and it got me right to Jose Ortega, and I know Jose Ortega.
I mean, I know
So, I
Pete
mean,
really
you
well.
probably could've-
I was with him
Yeah.
first, and then I had mentioned it, and he was like, "Oh,
Okay,
come-
yeah.
He was like, "Come on,
Yeah.
let's go. I'll bring you to my wife," and he brought me right over.
Okay,
Um,
then that's a good. That makes some sense too.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, no, it was. I thought they were great. I thought they were great in the booth. And it was like an honor. I got to get a picture taken with them.
Thank you, Uncle
And then
Larry.
we had Joseph, who is I know Joseph for a while too. He did a factory tour for me years ago. He took us around with the products. And I just thought the products were spectacular looking this year. Even the Vegas Cubanas rebrand I thought was great. And I just felt this was really under the radar this year for what and a lot of it was because the Garcias kept most of this quiet before the trade show. So, and then that sometimes takes some of the juice out of it, which I can understand they want to unveil it at the trade show. But I just, again, if you're media, you got to go visit the My Father. If you're not visiting the My Father booth, you're not covering the trade show properly, in my opinion.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Charles Joseph, absolutely loved your interview with Nick from a few days ago. Thank
Good
you.
job, yeah.
I appreciate that.
You did a good job with Nick, yeah.
Thank you.
You did a very good job with Nick, yes. And I want to just commend you guys. Matt, I mean, go ahead.
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
I want to commend the Smoke and Tobacco team for their coverage this year. You guys did a fantastic job. The interviews were great. It's the type of coverage I'd be looking for. You guys really, it takes I think I told you, you guys always did a good job, Matt. But it takes a few years to kind of hone this, and you guys were, especially having 3 guys who really hadn't covered the trade show before. Hats off. The team did a great job. You really guys did.
Well, Coop, I really appreciate you saying that.
Yeah.
Very nice of you to say.
Yep.
There's two things I will say to that. Actually, there's three. One, I'm very proud of my team.
You should be.
Two, those guys will tell you, when I'm in work mode, I'm on, and
I'm
they
on
know,
too. I know
and they
exactly
and
what you're
they
talking
and,
about.
and they know it's not personal, but I made sure that they got their job done, and they did. And I think they appreciate that I make sure that we stay focused, because
Yeah.
I made sure they were in the game at all times, and we got what we got. And the last
Yeah.
thing is, the only other thing I can say is, I learned from some great people, present party included. So,
Yeah.
yeah, I've had some good mentors.
No, no, no. I appreciate.
So,
Yeah.
that's part of it too.
And I gotta give I gave a few big shout outs to my team, and I'm gonna do it again because they just killed it this year. We had just everything stepped up. Aaron Nielsen had to leave early, and that was unfortunate, but he did a great job when he was there. Ben and Bear really just everything was top notch this year. They worked their asses off, these guys. So they deserve hats off to these guys. We're doing, by the way, we're having like our recap show on Wednesday because we haven't gotten back together yet. So all three of those guys will be on with me, and we'll just from a team perspective go through it, kind of what you and Kevin did.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we had different points of view and stuff. So no, but these teams, and a lot of these media guys really worked hard this year too. So, but I gotta say again, you guys. The interviews were very good. The production was very good. So you guys were on point. Yeah. Mitchell really surprised me. I'm gonna be honest because he was the big rookie and he's out there with the microphone and he seemed comfortable. He seemed like he had done this before.
Oh, he was nervous. Trust me.
Look, trust me. I hate doing that. Watch how bad I am on these interviews when I did some. I'm not good at that. That's why I got Bear doing it. Right. I'm better at this setting. But Mitchell. I gotta say, it's tough to do that. It's tough to do it, and he did a very good job.
Yep.
Yep.
I wanted to circle back to this comment from Charles. How does the Perdomo 30th compare to the ESV in terms of tasting notes? I guess it should be more general. How does it compare to the line as a whole? It's been a while since I've had an ESV, but when the last time they were out, I smoked a shit ton of them.
Great cigar.
They are great. I will say this, because I've smoked the 30th Connecticut and 30th Maduro, and I actually have the Sun Grown on deck for tonight. So I'll actually have completed all three. I found the Perdomo 30. First of all, they're great. I mean, everything they do, they're one of those brands where I've never had a cigar I was like, it's all right. I mean, every cigar that Nick's ever made that I've ever had, I've always enjoyed. And I've never had any issues with it. It's tasted
I've never had a dud. Yeah, that's what's amazing.
Never had a dud. Never. I've never had a dud. And I can't. And there's a lot of brands that I can say, 90% of the time, 85% of the time, not 100%. Perdomo is one of the extreme few that I can say 100% of the time it's been on point. I really like the 30th. I think. Not just ESV, but I would say everything else from Perdomo. It definitely stands out. It's very refined. To be honest with you, when I smoked the 30th Connecticut on the show with Nick, right away I was like, this cigar smokes like almost like an Atabey or like a good Davidoff. Some of those really ultra premiums. They were so clean.
Wow.
And they were so like polished. You know what I mean? Like in terms of the flavor, the complexity, just the balance, just everything about it it just felt like it like the harmony of the whole experience of the cigar was just like you could tell, like there was no drop off for me. It was like, wow, this thing is solid all the way through, and it's clean. Like the flavor is just like, it was perfect. And that's not to say that Nick's other cigars aren't great. They really are. But this one definitely stands out, and I think part of it is, he's using 15-year age tobacco, wrapper, binder, filler. These cigars actually were rolled. Nick said by the time they release in November, they will have been rolled for over 2 years. So, I mean, now they get some aging room age on them. They're good. They're really, really good.
He gave us on the factory tour. This is 2020. He took us to Finca Natalie, and that's where they're growing the sun-grown wrapper. And he gave us some burritos. With that, and they were amazing. I mean, and normally I don't get excited about a burrito. They were amazing. So I knew that there was something probably pretty special about this. And he said that's what we're using for the 30th. And they weren't aged. That even wasn't aged probably the 15 years at that point.
That's true. That's true. Because what year was that? Sorry, what year was that?
2020. It was literally right when the pandemic started.
So, 12 years age.
Yeah, but I don't. They might have pulled those off. They may have even had a lot less, right?
Yeah.
Because but the point. I mean, I knew that they had some exceptional crops that they were working on with that. And I remember he showed us the plants and everything. And you could tell that these plants were just very pristine. And like I said, you go into that farm, it's enormous. You know what? That farm, it's like that picturesque tobacco farm, but it's real. Everything's like perfect in that farm. It's just like lush green and everything.
Alex Tabella is here. Not sure how long this show is, but I'm here to give live fight updates. We got at least another hour.
I have the fight on the other computer.
We got time,
I have
Alex.
the fight. Yeah, don't worry. No, we're gonna be watching the fight tonight.
So yeah, if you got updates, just crank them in there. I'll put them up.
Yeah, I have it on the other machine here. So.
Which, by the way, shout out to the GOAT and shout out to the guys that smoke in. Look, they've been doing their Summer of Saka thing. They're one of those retailers that they always. They get a lot going on, and they make it look so easy, and I know it's fucking stressful. And, just shout out to those guys. And just, I just want to say thanks to Alex, for helping us out with something recently. And I reached out to him, and, those guys are great. I just want to say.
They really are. I love working with those guys. I consider it a privilege that I get to do a show with those guys on Saturday.
Yep.
Alex is a true professional. All of them are true professional, but Alex is a true professional as well. Just a quality human being, and is really good at what he does. And it's a great skill set to have. So he, hats off. Like I said, it's my privilege to kind of work alongside him. I can learn from him a lot. I learn from him a lot, so it's really good.
You know what's funny too? I mentioned earlier in the show we were talking about stuff, and I mentioned how Honest Abe. Abe has that Honest Abe nickname to him. Because of that. Alex is the same fucking way. Alex will give you a straight answer. Like I've said things to Alex before, like to get his opinion. He's like, nah, no way. Like he won't just be like, oh no, I remember I've been in the smoke-in shop.
That's Paul. Paul is the guy who will do that part. Yeah.
Tons of stuff, right? And I've tons of times I've been in their shop, and I'll be like, Alex, and he'll be like, nah. Like. He won't just be like, oh, yeah, no, it's good, just so I buy it. Nah, He's honest with me. I appreciate that. I know they're trying to sell cigars. That's their business. But he'll be honest with you. He'll tell you, or like, I didn't really, I don't know. But it's like, yeah, I want to hear that because I'm still gonna spend money. It's not like I'm not gonna spend money now. It's like, but they do a good job. They steer in the right direction. They know what I like to smoke, and if I'm saying, like, hey, I'm thinking about this, nah, you won't relate it. You should try this because he knows what I like and. Yeah, I appreciate that, and that's just another example of where that honesty comes into play.
Yeah, they're great people, and it's a great operation.
Yeah.
They have there, so can't say enough about it.
Just want to say that not just because he's here, but it's true. I mean,
and me, Matt, I'm probably the first guy to complain about anyone who works at retailers. So
yeah, so and everyone knows. Like if I had a problem, I would say it.
My son who worked for a retailer.
Yeah, I would have said it too. Like, well, Alex kind of drops the ball sometimes. Like when I play some.
Yeah, exactly.
He's just
No, those guys are great. They're just great people. Great people.
So yeah, no, they're great. And as is, same with our our retail partner, Two Guys Cigars, they
Dave's a good guy. Treated me like gold when I was up there. Yeah.
oh yeah, I mean those are the shops, man. I mean, and there's a lot of good shops out there too.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah. For
shout out to Jay Davis
yeah.
too. Jay again, another spare notes, and Jay's not here. I don't know. I think Jay's mad at me. I think Jay's mad because of what I said about PCA.
I don't know. I don't think I'm actually going to Texas in September, so I'll probably be seeing him. I'm gonna go out and see Bear, and I'm gonna go to the McAuliffe thing. I'm going to the McAuliffe open house. So yeah.
I really won't be able to because I'm gonna have my hands full. But
yeah, you're gonna have your hands. You're gonna be a little busy, Matt.
Okay.
Yeah, there'll be other times for that.
Yeah. We actually talked about it like last year, and we were like, oh yeah, like next September, like we should go down to Texas, and we had all these things we were gonna do, and then it was like, all right, so there's a lot of trips now that have been canceled. So, good reason though.
Exactly.
But yeah, no, Texas is on my list, man. I really want to go to Texas.
Yep.
And it's funny, in the beginning of the show, it's way back here. We were talking about Costco. Dan had said, I don't know if Dan's still here, but I'll throw this one up. Howdy, everyone. Did I ever say how good Texas barbecue is? Damn, that's like priority number one when I go to Texas. Is I want.
You know what's funny about this whole Texas barbecue? Like, I know people try to compare it. They're different, right? They're all different animals, right? There's Texas barbecue, there's Carolina barbecue, but then there's like within that, all Texas barbecue is not created equal, and all Carolina barbecue is not created equal. I think I always think there's room for both of these things. I don't know. It's beans in the chili argument, pineapple on the pizza argument.
Pineapple on pizza is blasphemy.
But if someone enjoys it, let them enjoy it, right?
No,
but don't try to pass it over. Don't try to pass it over as like, Chicago deep dish pizza or something like that. That don't do a Terrence Riley on. That's what I'm saying.
Charles, are you guys on every Saturday? This is great when the wife decides to pass out early after a night out. I like that. It's funny. No, every other Saturday. Every other Saturday.
Every other Saturday, yeah.
The Smoking Tobacco show is on every Wednesday. This show is every other Saturday, and then Coop has 2 shows that he does during the week on his own. That's he does KMA, but there's prime time and the special edition. So
yep.
So he has those as well.
Yep.
But thanks for watching the show. We appreciate it. I appreciate you guys being here. But yeah, no, Terrence. Talking about Terrence Riley. Alex is here. You got one Philly guy here. I wish Joe was here too. We talk about cheesesteak.
Well, the cheesesteak thing is moving on right now.
Yeah.
Now apparently Terrence has gone after Chicago Italian beef now.
Oh.
Yeah, and he has no clue what Chicago Italian beef is all about. I mean, it's just.
So I'm gonna say this, and I hope this. I really just let me before I open my mouth. Let me just say this, okay? Because I had it going back to the Junior's cheesecake thing. I wish that I had said like, "Hey, I don't know anything about this," so that you could have, instead of listening to you complain about it for months on end. I don't know. I don't know what Chicago beef is, so I don't want to hear it. I don't know. So tell me now before I get caught into a situation where it's like, I don't know. So tell me now. What's this all about?
So you have not.
At least I was fair about it,
You had not had a Chicago Italian beef sandwich before.
No, I don't know what that is.
So
I've never been to Chicago, so
let me see if I can explain.
Always wanted to.
It's a thin sliced roast beef. It's simmered, and served with an au jus, kind of an au jus on it, right? And then there is something called, I always mess the name up here, jardinera peppers on it.
Okay.
And some people like the Italian beef where the au jus completely submerges the roll, and other people like it dry.
Okay.
But that is what it is. It's a tougher thing to do than we were just talking about this morning with Alex. It's a tougher thing to make than a cheesesteak, which you can easily just fry up on a grill, right? Because that's a slow cooked roast beef that you have to make. The key thing is you really want, like, I would say for a good Italian beef, you want that boneless chuck roast, like sliced very thin. Yeah. That would be the kind to do that. But other people, it's not served like a cheesesteak or anything like that. But
Alex said Terrence also happens to be a lobster connoisseur. Listen, as someone who lives
he was
15
bragging
minutes
about like
outside
how
of
he's an
Boston.
expert on yeah.
We know lobster here in New England, okay?
Yeah.
And by the way, can I just say this? I know that there's other kinds of lobster out there, but Maine lobster, which we have here in New England, that's what we're known for, it trumps all other lobster. Okay,
I'll give you one that's right as good as Maine lobster.
It's true.
But it's harder to get. South African lobster is really good.
I've had South African lobster.
It's very good. It's hard to get it though.
It's a little different. It is hard to get. It's a little
different. Yeah.
I've only had it at like
yeah.
like Capitol Grill and like other like high-end steakhouses that have specialty like that.
Because
you're right. It's more expensive. It's harder to get. The other thing about other lobster is most lobsters are just tail. Maine lobster has the claws. Like rock lobster doesn't have claw. It's just tail. So the other thing too, and then when you get into that discussion, you get people like, well, tail over claw and this and that. I like all of it. I will say, when it comes to lobster, I mean the tail is the better meat.
I've never had the South African whole lobster. Is what I'll say.
Does that have claw?
It has very thin claws, I think, from what I've seen pictures of it in the past. But I've only had South African lobster tail. So
me too. I've only ever had the tail.
It's and tougher. I agree. Maine ones, yeah.
It's tougher than Maine lobster tail. I noticed. A lot of times they're bigger, but they're tougher.
They're big. They're definitely bigger. Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's a very flavorful thing. But yeah, you're right. I mean, I had a whole when I was up your way last year, we had we went to an event where we had whole lobsters. So that was great. And then you're right. There's nothing like a Maine whole lobster. I would agree with you on that.
I'm a big seafood guy myself. I really enjoy almost any seafood. I mean, to be honest with you, the only fish I don't like is very basic white fish, like white flaky fish, like cod, haddock. It's just not my jam, And I've had it. I've had it so many different ways. I've had it baked with breadcrumbs, baked with the Ritz crackers. I've had it fried. It just doesn't do it for me. But almost every other fish, I'll eat it. I eat octopus, squid, any shellfish, mussels, clams, scallops. I eat crab. I really enjoy lobster. I really enjoy salmon, swordfish, tuna, ahi tuna. I cook myself. I enjoy it. I've had. I don't think I've had flounder, but I've always wanted to try it.
Good.
Chilean sea bass. I've had red snapper before. When I was in the Dominican, I ate a lot of that. That was really good.
Trout is really good.
I've never had trout, actually.
Trout is really, and I'm going to give you a place that you think would not do a good trout. I'm telling you, they do good trout is Red Lobster. They have it on the menu, and I had it. I remember my wife ordered it. Like my wife, we were there. We went once, and she ordered the trout, and I'm like, this is great. And I anytime I go to Red Lobster, I'll order. That's the only thing I'll order from them. Is
here's
the trout.
Here's the problem. Really here's the problem with Red Lobster living in Boston. There are no Red Lobsters here because we don't need.
No, I get it. I get it. Look, I'm not trying to say Red Lobster is legal seafood even. Like I'm not trying to compare. I'm just saying
Legal's
they do a good trout at Red. They do a good trout at Red Lobster. Is all I'm saying.
No, I take your word for that, though. I respect that. That. But I've never been to one because, I mean, they don't exist here because, I feel like because, number one, there's just too much competition with, regular smaller shops that get fresh right off the boat that day and, where it's New England, you know what I mean? Like, it's, we got a lot of fishing. We got Gloucester, we got Boston, you got pretty much all the way up the coast, everywhere. I mean, there's a lot of fishing ports.
Yeah.
The Wicked Tuna guys, a lot of the Wicked Tuna guys are right out of Gloucester, Massachusetts. 45 minutes from there. So
I love when I go up to Rhode Island. I go down to Galilee.
Rhode Island, yeah.
And they have some great on the pier seafood places that you can get. When I go see Stogie Santa, we always go down to Galilee. He always takes me down to Galilee. And I get the clams. The clams are unbelievable there. They have the clams on the half shell there. They have something called a Rhode Island clam chowder, which from what I understand is technically a Maine clam chowder. It has more of a clear broth to it.
Yeah,
I think
and if I remember correctly, it's usually a little more oily.
yeah, it's a little more oily. Like I remember, I was talking to Carney about it, and he said no. He goes, it's actually, and I know he's from Maine, but he said no, it is actually Maine clam chowder. And I did some looking up, and he was correct on that. So,
Yeah,
but they just call it Rhode Island.
Sometimes those clam chowders will also have like bacon or like a pork, some other kind of like
Yeah.
like a pancetta in them, which is, I don't hate it, but it's definitely different. I mean, the clam chowders that I eat are usually, like the legal seafood clam chowder is good, but like, I go to a lot of like the local clam shacks here that make their own stuff in house, and it's fresh, and that shit's my jam. And I'll go to other parts of the country and I have clam chowder and it comes out and I'll look at it and it's like, and again, this is another thing I can identify with. It's like an Italian going to Olive Garden.
Yeah.
You're like, okay, I see the attempt, but
well, I'll just say this, again, I've had some very good experiences at Olive Garden. Like I've gone there for lunch sometimes at work, because there's nothing else there, and I've had some very good experiences there too. So, again, I'm not trying to compare it to my favorite Italian restaurant, but I think sometimes it gets a little bit of a bum rap. I really do.
Oh, Mitch, I love soup.
All you can eat, all you can eat the soup and salad is not a bad deal, guys. So.
I will say, soup, salad, the breadsticks. I mean, like if I go to Olive Garden, that's why I'm going. I'm not going for the lasagna because let's face it, like for me.
But I see people go to Jack. I see people complain about Olive Garden. They go to Jack in the Box. So I mean, I don't get it. I'm like, you go to Jack in the Box. What are you complaining about Olive Garden for?
Yeah. I mean, look. At the end of the day, no one makes it. No one, and not just because it's my wife, but it's like no one makes a better Italian lasagna than my Italian wife does. So I mean, it. She makes that lasagna. I'm like, dude, half that's mine. Like everyone else can go screw.
Yeah, absolutely.
She'll make it at the holidays, and I'll just tell people like, just half of that dish is mine. You guys can go screw.
Right. Yeah. No, exactly.
The meatballs totally. Too, like they make meatballs, sauce day.
So are you gonna get her to make meatballs and then you can submit them to Garofalo's meatball competition? You should get in on that.
I tell you, that conversation did happen one time, and I don't know. We've done the meatball event a few times. I was there when Oliver won the first time.
I remember you were like giving me play-by-play from the meatball competition.
Yeah. And all of it was good. They were pretty good.
So the first year they did it, we were on primetime that night. They were doing it on a Thursday night, right? And this is before I knew you, right?
Yeah.
I had people like messaging me, hey, what's going on, right, at the meatball competition, right? And then somehow someone told me that Saka won it. Okay, and I said it on the air, but then I found out that Dave wanted a gag order. He didn't want it out till like he did Cigar Authority on Saturday. I felt bad. I didn't know, but yeah, but like I had people like they're pinging us the whole show. Who won the meatball competition? Like it was a Saka,
Yeah, I think Saka won it 3 times in a row.
I think he won it, and then Oliver won it like 3 times in a row, right, or something like that.
He won it 3 times. I think Oliver won it twice.
Yeah, who's going to eat my meatball?
Mr. Jonathan, I think, comes in last most times. Although I think the time I was there, I think he came in. No. He came in last when I was there. And then this year, I think he actually finished like 3rd or 2nd.
Okay.
I think he was in the middle of the pack this time.
I will never make fun of anyone because, believe me, I would not. I'd finish in last if I did it. So,
me personally, I do a lot of cooking, and I know my way around a kitchen. I have never attempted meatballs myself personally. I could probably do a decent job, but no, I mean Nicole does a great job. My father-in-law does a good job.
Yeah,
who's Italian and knows how to cook and stuff. He does a lot of cooking.
Because of the egg factor, my wife makes them without egg. So,
that's right. Yeah, the egg.
That's why I won't eat meatballs because I know there's egg in them. So, but I will eat my wife's because she makes them without egg.
So, John, legal clam chowders from a restaurant called Legal Seafood.
Great restaurant up in the New England and Massachusetts area.
Yeah,
they're a chain. They're a small chain.
It's a chain, but it's a New England chain.
It's a New England chain. It's a regional chain, but I would say.
So while it's a chain, really I give it the New England respect because it's New England based and they do things kind of the New England way. So
We should go there when I'm up there.
yeah, we
Actually,
should. Let's do that.
They had their lobster bisque was killer up there, from what I remember. I think they put the sherry. They put a little bit of sherry in it, if I remember.
Maybe. I
But
can't
I've
remember. I
ordered
don't know
whole
if I
lobster
actually
there
had their
before.
lobster bisque.
Their lobster bisque is money.
They'll
I
let you.
will tell you that.
The other thing too, like if you get a salad from them, which is awesome. Like most places you get like a Caesar salad or whatever. Like you can add chicken, you can add maybe steak to it, or you can add like shrimp. Like you can add scallops to it. You can also add like a lobster salad to it, like mixed in the mayo and stuff. Like you can get a Caesar salad and then they'll dump like a whole thing of like lobster salad on top.
Yep.
It's great.
Yep.
It's like $30, but it's great Caesar salad.
Yeah, yeah. No, I just looked it up. That's the one where they put the sherry in that lobster bisque. It's really good.
Mm.
It gets a little sweetness, and it's fantastic. Their lobster bisque.
You know what's funny?
You can actually get shipped to you now. There, it's interesting. I was just looking at it.
Yeah, legal. Some of their soups and stuff. They are packaged. Like you can get them at Costco. We go to Costco and you can get like the two.
Oh, really?
The two thing of like clam chowder. Yeah, you can get it. I don't know if you guys get it down there, but I know our Costco we have it.
I'll have to look and see. Yeah, I just.
Oh yeah, you guys are Costco members.
I've gone to Costco twice for the first time in 15 years.
You should keep going.
You know what's interesting? I just I'm not to distract this. When I go up to, there's actually illegal seafood in the New York area.
I thought they had like one or two like further down the coast, like either in your neck of the woods.
Yeah, there's one in Jersey, right near my sister's house actually. That's why. And I'm due to go to. I think we're going to New York probably the end of the year, see my family. So, it's been a while since we've been up there. So yeah. I don't know how we got the legal seafood, but we did. Oh, Terrence Riley with his lobster comments.
Why Terrence Riley's here?
No, but he was like trying to be like a lobster connoisseur today. The guy who doesn't even know how to order a cheesesteak. I mean, to be honest with you, like Alex had him on Summer. Oh no, it wasn't Summer. It was like they were doing something similar to Summer Soccer, and he asked him how you order a cheesesteak 3 times, and Terrence couldn't articulate it. Because there is a way to order a cheesesteak in Philadelphia.
I don't know if you saw. We had Joe on the show 2 weeks ago, and I brought this up. So
yeah, Joe, I heard that show. Okay, and Joe was kind of playing the political animal there. I heard that. Right? I think Coop is really. Come on, Joe. You were all over him on that. You were calling it an abomination, and you're sitting there. Well, I think Coop is. Come on. He's trying to play this politically correct thing. I heard that. You don't think I'm not like Alan Rubin on these shows. I'm like I do hear this stuff. Okay, like I don't comment 100 times, but I
I'm sorry, I couldn't hold that in.
Like you notice like how many times? A couple of times you guys like if I watch it live, you guys make a comment. You'll notice I'll say I heard that, and you don't even know I'm there, right? You had no idea I was even there.
Here's the thing.
I'm like a little.
Since you're here, I'm gonna say this for everybody. So when you're not on with me and I talk about you in the air, I bring you up and I'll bust your balls. I know full well. Like I do it knowing you're going to hear it. So it's not like I'm hiding it from you like I was talking shit. Like I'm like he's gonna hear this. I know he is, so I'm gonna say it. Like I'm not shy. I know you're gonna hear it.
The question is, am I listening live or not? That's the question.
Yeah, but I know at some point you're gonna hear it because I'll hear about it. I heard what you said the other night on the show. And I'll be like, yeah.
And I'll be honest with you, I used to comment more on people's shows. I've kind of commented less because, again, it's your guys' show. You guys need to you don't need another wheel there. But occasionally I'll say something here and there, but.
I like when you say stuff, though. It's nice.
Okay. Yeah.
Alan said, people who go to Olive Garden can't take shots at Publix subs. Listen, I've been to Publix, and
I didn't take.
I don't know if I agree with that. Publix.
He's not wrong. I don't know why I'm giving him time with his comments, but no, he's not wrong. But it's a fair comment.
Publix subs are good. I've had the food there.
No, they're okay. They're okay. All right, I'm gonna say this. Florida's known for Publix, right?
Mm-hmm.
When we were in South Florida, I will take you to. I could find places that would blow away Publix subs, blow them away in South Florida.
Damn, we can make it.
And
happen.
the other thing, You got to make the V&S Deli in Boca. Blows that place. It's one of the best delis in America. And then if you want kosher deli, I got to take you. I took the Coop team for kosher deli back when we were at the Great Smoke, and it was an experience I'll never forget. They loved it. Kosher deli is an amazing, amazing thing. It's hard to find good kosher deli around, and especially we have one place in Charlotte which is decent, but it's not like there's Ben's down in Florida.
Coop, you know what I wish I could do with you? I wish you and I could just like take a week, right? And we could just travel to like all these different parts of the country. Like every day is like a different part of the country, and we eat like whatever the food. Like we go to Philly one day, we do a cheesesteak. Then we go to like fucking I don't know. Give me something. We do fish up here.
We could do New York.
New York and do the bagels.
New York at bagels. New Haven pizza.
Yeah.
Rhode Island, we go to Galilee. It could be done. I mean, it's not that far. We could probably easily make that work out.
And just like do a whole food tour. That would be the way to do it.
That would be. I think we should try to make that happen. Yeah, I think it would be a lot of fun.
That would be a great time.
I'd love to do it. I would love to do it.
By the way, I'm sure you heard the news, but one of your favorite burger chains is now opening up on the Vegas Strip.
Oh, yeah, Kevin reported. Good job by the Smoking Tobacco news team. Kevin was right on top of that. Whataburger. I mean, and what's great is you have now the trifecta. Okay, you have Whataburger, you have In-N-Out Burger, and now I'm putting Wiener Schnitzel on there, which was they had some really good hot dogs at Wiener Schnitzel, is what I'll say. So you're covered for meals every night now.
Jay's here.
Wiener Schnitzel was great. I got to go to Wiener Schnitzel. I went to In-N-Out too. I went to In-N-Out when I was picking my guys up at the airport, and I was waiting for them. But Wiener Schnitzel was a better hot dog than Costco. I'm going to say that.
I mean,
but not much. It was. But that's not.
That, though.
But yeah, there's certain Wiener Schnitzel hot dogs that are better than others. You got to go for the all beef one.
All right. So here's a comment from Alex. Anyone who wants to order a cheesesteak and starts with the word Philly it's already lost.
You know what? And you know what? And guess what? I'm guilty of this too. But yes, I want a. Terrence goes, I want a Philly cheesesteak.
That's funny.
There's a culture to ordering a cheesesteak in Philadelphia. You say with or without. That's how you. He had no clue, Terrence.
So I remember one time I texted Alex this question. I don't know if he'll remember this, but a lot of the sub shops around here, they'll do steak bombs. Have you heard of steak bombs?
Yeah.
All right. Which normally is peppers, onions, cheese, usually mushrooms. And then one thing that a lot of the places do around here, sometimes you get to ask for it, but a lot of them just by default, they'll chop up some salami and they'll put it in the meat as they grill it and grill it and it's mixed in. And I like it. I think it's good. I mean, but I'm not from Philly, so whatever.
You could not get a steak bomb anywhere around where I am, just so you know.
Right. And I remember asking Alex, I'm like, hey, so like, because I asked him like on steak bombs, and he was like, "What the fuck is a steak bomb?" I was like, "All right, I already fucked up."
Well, they're big in New England, and I think they're big in a few parts of the country. I think I want to say in Arizona they're big too. But it's a New York. Now another thing that's really cool is going back to the Chicago Italian beef is they do Italian sausage and they wrap the beef around the sausage and put the giant peppers on it. It's really good. So, but yeah, the steak bomb is probably something I need to get next time I'm up in New England. I haven't had one in a long time.
I think they're good. I mean, I like the extra stuff they put in there. We got a couple of places nearby. There's a place next town over called Carl's Steak Subs, and they do a lot of that stuff. There was one time I was doing a side job with my dad. We were out, not real west, but more towards Western Mass, and there was a steak and cheese place out there, and like that was like their thing, and they had like 30 different kinds of steak. They had like a Mexican steak and cheese, and the subs were massive. I mean, like they came out and they were like this, and like the bun was like you get a steak and cheese, and the bun's like this, right? Like I want the bun to be like this, and like you can't close it. Like I like food, so like I like to get a lot of food. I don't like when you get the sandwich and the bread's closed. I'm like, all right. I mean, come on. If I wanted a panini, I would have got
Right.
I wanted a full sandwich, not a flat sandwich. So, yeah, but that's all I have to say on that.
Have you ever had a wrap sandwich, like a sandwich in a tortilla wrap?
Like a
You
Caesar
know who
wrap
invented
or
that?
a
You know who invented that
who?
or claim? Bobby Valentine, the baseball manager.
Really? He claims that
Yeah,
he invented
he
the
claims
sandwich
he
wrap.
invented the wrap sandwich. Because he has those Bobby Valentine restaurants for like over 30 years, and he apparently was actually when he had one restaurant, he was working there. He was out of bread. So he went to the customer. He says, "How about trying this tortilla?" And the guy says, "Yeah, I'll give it a try." And Bobby Valentine claims he did. He was the first one to do it, and he challenges anyone to prove him wrong on it. Is what he said, and no one's proven him wrong on it yet.
So Mitchell asked a
So-
question. They got tongue at Kosher Deli?
Yeah,
Hmm.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. They do. It's what I would say with tongue is I would not order a tongue sandwich. It's not a meat that it's better when you put that meat in with like a brisket or a corned beef or a pastrami.
Isn't
I
that
would say.
what
It's
head
not
cheese
good.
is?
Head cheese is kind of in this. Head cheese isn't no head cheese isn't tongue though. It's
Oh.
different.
Okay.
I'm trying to describe. It's not first of all. Head cheese is not cheese. It's
No,
kinda
I know
like- head
that.
cheese is
I
kinda
know
like-
that.
It's got this gelatin quality to it.
Right.
The meat. Yeah.
Yeah, if you've ever seen like the deli meat that's like kind of
Right, but
clear and it's got like little like pieces of meat in it, that's
but you
what that
put
is.
a thin slice of that on your sandwich. You don't want to have a head cheese sandwich. Same with mortadella. I don't like a mortadella sandwich. I like it with it's a good complementary meat, is what I would say.
Mortadella.
Yeah.
You leave off the end of the word. That's how you.
Whatever. It's a Archie Bunker. Whatever.
Come on, Alex, back me up on this one. Oh man.
Well, head cheese is like very disgusting looking.
Yeah, you know,
Terrence, we went somewhere on Terrence Road.
I grew up, with I'm German as well, so like I ate a lot of German food. Like I've eaten liverwurst, which I enjoy. I know that probably grosses a lot of people out, but I enjoy that. But like the head cheese is also popular in like a German deli. It's never been my thing. Tongue, same thing. But like I'll eat like liverwurst, bratwurst, bloodwurst, anything that has wurst at the end. I usually will eat it. Knockwurst. To me, it's all good.
You know what's funny about head? I gotta go back to the head cheese stuff again.
Yeah.
Head cheese is almost like short filler cigars. It's kind of like another way to put it.
Damn.
It's all the scraps that are left over.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true.
Literally, that's what they do with it. Literally, that's
like
what
an
it is. It's all-
umbagog.
They trim it and they gelatinize it so they get it all to stick together. That's what they basically did with that. Yeah, that's what head cheese is. It's the scraps of everything.
Jay said, in response to Alex Tavella, I tip my hat to you, sir. Chicago musts include a game at Wrigley, Italian beef, Polish sausage, Chicago hot dog, or red hot, razor thin pizza, and deep dish pizza. But great Polish,
We were talking about that. We talked about this
Vietnamese,
morning too.
Afghani, Ethiopian, Greek, Italian, Thai food, and of course, steak at Gibson's, the Chop House, or Gene and Giorgetti's.
Yeah.
Like that?
Yeah. I mean, lucky we have some really good Chicago connections on the Coop team with Jay and Aaron Nielsen. So, I mean, I am in basically one of their hands if I go to Chicago.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I mean, we talked about Whataburger coming to the Strip.
Yes.
So I think that's great news, by the way, and it's like I've always taken the attitude there's room for both in my life. I've never gotten they're different.
Mitchell, I love head cheese, but it's not tongue. Yeah.
Yeah, it's not tongue.
it's
There
not
may
for
be
me.
tongue in it, but
Yeah, I think there's tongue in it, but there's also other
Yeah.
stuff. It's a multitude of things. Yeah.
like I said, it's friggin' short filler. It's what it is. It's exactly.
Yeah. Yeah. Another thing that people eat. I'm not a big fan of, but I know people eat that is kind of in that other realm. Is tripe.
I love it in pho.
Do you?
In
That's
pho, it's really good. Yeah, yeah, pho is really good in
Or pho? Yeah, people call it pho.
pho. Yeah, I mean, we were talking about pho with Anfon. He was on the show Thursday night.
Oh yeah, that's right.
And I always go pho with him down in Florida. He knows all the best places. And you can't get the tripe in Charlotte. You can't get. They don't do it in Charlotte. So it kind of sucks because I like it in with the brisket and the round beef, yeah, and the meatballs.
I'm glad Jay finally showed up because he's got a lot of interesting things to say.
Well,
tonight.
yeah, he probably had stuff going on tonight, yeah.
No, I know, but this is awesome. He said, and by the way, the restaurant barbecue in Chicago is vastly superior to that in Texas. Barbecue made by locals is better in Texas, is what he says.
Listen, we have some. You know what? I hate getting into this. I'm sure there is, and I won't even doubt it. But there's some great South Carolina barbecue near me, which is the mustard based. They call it the golden barbecue. And it's so unique. But I wouldn't try to equate it to a Texas barbecue.
Mm-hmm.
It's called barbecue, but it's completely different. They have like the vinegar based barbecues here in North Carolina, completely different. And there's room. I always say there's room for. What I love is I think what's great about regional cuisine is the variety it brings. It shouldn't be trying to divide people. It should be actually trying to expand, and everyone should learn from each other. But like this, I heard this stupid thing about beans and chili. Guess what? You want beans and chili, you have beans and chili. You want it not in chili, you don't have it. That's what's the beauty of choice here.
I mean, I eat beans and chili. Doesn't bother me.
There's like a religious war about it, but I think it's the people who don't put the beans in the chili. It's religious. Like, I think there's room for both. I keep going back. It's like I've had great Texas chili.
If you don't have a lot of gas after you eat chili, you didn't do it right. So
you didn't do it right, yeah.
I'm just saying. I mean,
yeah,
it's got to be good going in and not so great coming out.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, I don't know. It's just.
So I'm looking forward because I'm going to be in Texas. I was just saying, Jay, we're going to be doing some. I know Jay and I will be having a couple good dinners out there, so I owe him a good dinner. So.
Yeah, I know, and anytime I go to Chicago or Texas, I'm going to be texting Jay for Jay. Jay will be like my concierge when I go to Chicago and Texas. Be like, Jay, I need you to educate.
The years I did the Cannonball Run to Vegas, where I drove, and there were 3 years I did it. It was interesting because Saka did it one year, and he knew I was doing it, and he was ahead of me on the road. And he calls me up, and he says, "Well, where are you on the road?" I said, "I'm in Amarillo." He says, "When are you going to hit Albuquerque?" I'm like, "Probably about like 4.5, 5 hours, right?" And he's like, "Oh," he goes, "I'm already past Albuquerque," but he goes, "You got to go to this place." And he tells me, he's right off the highway. He found this barbecue place. He's got to go to it. And it was fantastic, I got to say. It was a Texas-style place in New Mexico. It was really good.
There's a barbecue place in Connecticut that Nicole really loves, and it's a good place. I don't have anywhere else to compare it to, so that's my disclaimer. But it's called
I've been to a couple. When I lived in Stanford, I used to go to a few barbecue places. They were good. Actually,
and I think you know about this place. It's called Bear's Barbecue.
I've heard of it, yeah.
And they catered at the Connecticut Barn Smoker last year. And Nicole already knew about it. She went to the Barn Smoker. I was in Florida with Carney, but she went to that, and they had the bear. She was like, "They got Bear's Barbecue here," and that's a pretty good place. And I've been there.
Yeah.
I stopped there. Actually, I was with Carney again in December, doing an event at Penthouse Cigar in Hartford, and on my way back home, I had actually stopped there, and it was a good place. They had some good barbecue.
Yeah, no, like I said, it's good. You can find good places. Like I was just telling, there's a Chicago style restaurant that just opened in Charlotte, and I've heard great things about it. It's authentic. So, people do move to different parts of the country, and they take it with them. So I don't doubt it.
Yeah, Jay said Coop is correct. Memphis barbecue and Carolina barbecue is excellent too.
They're just different. They're different. Memphis is a very Memphis has a dry rub on it. And they're different. They're not. I don't think they're not, because then you can see different types of Carolina barbecue, and some are better than others. Some like Texas style barbecue, you go for brisket on that, right? I think in St. Louis style barbecue, you go for more. In Memphis, you go more for ribs.
Yep.
So pulled pork is a Carolina thing, So I think it differs where you can kind of get the specialty on.
And the sauces are different styles too. Like they got Carolina barbecue sauce, you got
Yeah.
Texas barbecue sauce. Like it's all,
Yeah,
and they're all good, but they're all different.
they're all different.
I think isn't
They're all
Carolina
different.
barbecue sauce more like mustard based?
South Carolina is mustard based.
That's what it is.
East Carolina is vinegar based, so it's clear.
Mm-hmm.
West Carolina is a hybrid of tomato sauce and vinegar. So there's actually 3 types in the Carolinas.
Okay.
The mustard is, my opinion, is and you have to go to the right places for mustard barbecue. South Carolina mustard barbecue. That nice golden sauce you want. It's like that golden brown. You don't want the yellow. The yellowish sauce I don't think is as good. But there's a golden brown sauce. It looks like this bronze color. And it's just incredible with brisket, in my opinion.
John had asked, scrapple? What's scrapple?
Oh, that's a Philly thing.
Oh, is it? Alex, where are you?
No, I know it is. It's again, that is short filler. It's kind of pork scraps that they kind of bring these, they kind of fuse them together, the pork scraps, and they mix it it's like they mush them together, and then they so they kind of mush it together. And
it's like it's homogenized.
It's homogenized, right?
Yeah.
They put cornmeal and stuff in it, and it's kind of that congealed. It's similar to a head cheese type of concept. It's all the scraps, and then the idea is it's pan fried, which is really really. I've never been a big scrapple guy. I've never been. Spam. I know it's not spam, but it reminds me of spam sometimes.
Sorry, where was I? Yeah, Lorenzo asked where in Texas. I'm not sure what that was about. And then David asked, hey, Coop, was it Rudy's?
It was Rudy's.
Yeah.
Good call, David. It was Rudy's in Albuquerque. Yep. It was literally right off I-40.
The restaurant you need to go to in Fort Worth is Riata. Get the chocolate bread pudding tamale for dessert.
I will be going there in September. I'm there. Riata is absolutely a bucket list item for me to go to.
Yeah, I want to check that out too.
I do too. I'm really
They
excited.
have a couple of them, right? Or is it only one?
They have a couple, but
yeah.
I don't think it's only one in Fort Worth.
We've spent half the show talking about food tonight.
We did. Well, we didn't talk about PCA much.
I know. And I've often criticized you guys on other shows for just talking about food. But yet here we are. Yeah. It's just, I feel like it's just one of those topics. Now I know why. Now I know why. Like you and Abe talk about Cracker Jacks, and Dojo does a whole thing about cereal. I guess you just can't avoid the food talk. It's just.
I mean, it is a popular thing. We did a whole food segment with On the other night, and we were talking about Michelin star restaurants and omakase type of cuisine, and there was a lot of there. And tonight we talked about barbecue and Can I turn this back to a quick PCA thing about the food?
Yeah, let's do it.
This was the most disappointing year of PCA food I had. I did not have I did not go out to a manufacturer for dinner this year.
Coop's going to Fort Worth, Lorenzo.
Yeah. And I'm not. We just didn't have that big dinner this year. The best dinner I had was with Jay Davis at Sushi Chamba beforehand, which was fantastic, that dinner. But after that, it was like, the cocktail hours were. I went hungry after the cocktail hours, right? Except the Espinosa one had food at least.
So,
but we went DoorDash one. We went back to the house and DoorDashed it. That's how hungry we were.
Where did we eat? So we went to. The first night we went to Smith & Walensky, which is usually a place I like to go.
Was this like, did you go to manufacturer or you went with the team?
No, we took the team.
Okay, that's good. We went to a ramen place like after the show was over is what we do, yeah.
We did that. We all like to eat, but as we talked about in the last show, apparently Mitchell can put food away like a garbage disposal.
I heard about this. Yeah.
Dude, that bone was clean.
And he eats fast, right?
Yeah. I was still eating. Like, I think, what did I get? Like a ribeye or a strip?
Right.
And Kevin had something like that. Like, me and Kevin got some decent sized steaks, and I think Mitchell's steak was a good size too. But we looked over and was like, dude, you're done? And he's like, Yeah. I'm like, I looked at Kevin. He looked at me. I'm like, holy fuck, dude. I thought I liked to eat. And the thing is, this kid's skinny as a rail. Like, me and Kevin, I mean, I'm not knocking Kevin, but, like, me and him are like 2 peas in a pod, so I feel like I can say it. Like, we're not in the best shape. But, like, Mitchell, I mean, he's a pretty dainty fellow. I mean, and I don't mean that in a rude way. Hey, look, I mean, I wish I could eat like that and still be skinny, but, like, he's not like he's a very slim guy, and he can put food away. I mean, I will say it, eventually it's going to catch up with him, or he's just got great genes. I don't know. Maybe it's a Chinese thing. Maybe, I don't know, because I don't know many Chinese people who are overweight. Maybe, and Chinese people like to eat too. Maybe it's a Chinese thing. I don't know. And he can eat, and God bless him. God bless him. I don't know. It was a topic of conversation, and then Kevin was like, "All right, so the next time we're just because here's the thing. I said to the guys, I go, do you want to do a buffet one night?" And they're like, "No." I'm like, "All right, fine. They don't want to do it." And then Kevin's like, so then after that, Kevin's like, "All right, we got to do a buffet now. We got to take Mitchell because like Kevin's like, now I need to know like where the limit is." Like,
right.
So I'm like, that's a good idea. And he's like, we're going to take him to the M buffet. And we're just going to, all you can eat. And we're like, all right, Mitchell, just go to town. Let's see how far you can go. And if that kid clears like 4 plates before dessert, I'm going to be like, all right, like I bow down to you.
Boy Wonder.
Yeah.
That's why we don't call him Boy Wonder for nothing.
Mitchell said, I'm going to a Michelin star bar for my B-day on Tuesday. That's right. Mitchell's birthday's coming up. So happy birthday to Mitchell.
Happy birthday, Mitchell. Yeah, absolutely.
But
gonna be 21 years old. He's gonna turn. So congratulations.
He looks like he's like 18.
I know. Did they card him and all that?
It's funny because Nick made a comment on the show the other day, and then Mitchell was like, "Nick, just so you know, I'm actually older than Matt." He's like, "Wait, what?" Not by much. Mitchell's. Wait,
30. He's older than you? I didn't even know that.
Yeah, so I'll be 30 in December. Mitchell,
I'm calling the wrong guy, Boy Wonder.
I think Mitchell's gonna be 31 on Tuesday, so he's very slightly older than me, but he's older than me.
He's younger than my daughter still, so.
Mm-hmm. But he said I'm going to a Michelin star bar for my birthday on Tuesday. Yeah, I'm sure it'll be great, but he'll probably finish that meal so fast he'll probably forget all about it as soon as he's done. So, But no, what I was going to say was, so we went to Smith & Wollensky, and then the next night we went to Din Tai Fung, and if you know, you know, but we went out there and we got a shit ton of dumplings and stuff. It's a great, it's at Aria. You need a reservation. And if you show up early, they will tell you, we're going to seat you at your reservation time because it's that busy, and oftentimes you don't go in until after your reservation. It is busy. Don't show up there. You won't get in. I'm telling you right now. You need a reservation.
I won't go. I can't deal with that.
But it's great. It's great. We went there. And then Saturday night, Mitchell and I went with Carney to Carver Steak. So Carver Steak.
Oh, the Carney experience is great. I've done it 1 year.
Oh, unlike anything you'll ever see.
But and you had him just order.
Yep. So Carver Steak was voted best steakhouse in Vegas 2022. So Carney was like, "Hey, like we're going to dinner. You guys around?" I'm like, "Yeah, let's go." So we went, and I sat down, and I barely looked at the menu, as I normally do. Everyone's like studying the menu, and I'm just like, I'm not wasting my time. And the food was pretty good. The service was not. So one thing I'll say about Carver Steak, the service was subpar. I can't tell you how many things we ordered, and then like 25 minutes later, we're like, "Hey, where's that drink that I ordered?" Or "Where's that, whatever." But it was good. Would I go back? I would go back to try it again, but I don't know if after that.
Right.
But I would say check it out. That was an interesting experience. And then where'd we go? Monday we went to Carmine's at Caesar's Palace, which is family style Italian. If you've never been to Carmine's.
I've been to Carmine's. It's a good place.
Yeah. So when you order, just remember, like, you look at the menu and you see everything's like $35 and $40. It's not that it's like overpriced. You get a platter of it. So, I mean, yeah, you get a lot of food. Don't go there with like 2 people.
Yeah.
Go there like with a group because it'll be more fun. But yeah, the food experience, yeah, it was good. I mean, for the most part, it
Yeah.
probably wasn't the best, but it was decent.
No, we didn't have any big dinners this year. Like I said, the big thing I had was the dinner with Jay and his brother at Sushi Samba, which was incredible. Thank you, Jay, for taking us. It was very nice. Then we go to Ginger Rama. We do our post team thing at Ginger Rama,
Yep.
which is some of the best ramen out there. Did I say ramen? Excuse me. That we did on Tuesday afternoon, and then I went out for Cuban food with Jose Blanco on Wednesday.
Oh,
Uh,
jealous.
so, we're going. Like, Jose's like, hey, let's get some lunch. And he's like, I'm in the mood for Cuban food. I'm like, okay. So he goes, I know this great Cuban place in Vegas, right? Or I heard of this great Cuban place in Vegas. So I go, punch it in the GPS. So he punches it into the GPS for me, right? He plugs his phone into, the console, right? And I look at this. I'm like, Jose, this is 5.5 hours away in Tucson, Arizona. It's wrong. I'm like, no, Jose. There's no other place. It's 5.5 hours. We're not going 5.5 hours to Tucson.
It's like, Jose, I love you, but I'm not driving you to Tucson for food.
So he goes, oh, all right. And he punches up another Cuban place that was actually really nearby. And we went there. And it turned out this place was actually Kevin Acuff approved.
Mm-hmm.
So, if it's Kevin Acuff approved, it was legit. And it was great. It was great.
Yeah, anytime I go to a new restaurant in Vegas, I always ask Kevin first. Kevin, do you know this place?
I was with Jose, so I didn't have time, but I would have normally have done that. But yeah, you want to get the Kevin Acuff seal on that stuff, for sure, because he will not steer you wrong. And he, like I said, if the fact that this was on his radar, we just lucked out that it was a really good place.
Yeah, there's a lot of good spots, and I know, like the How About That Cigar guys. I know one of their traditions after the trade show ends is they go to Tacos El Gordo on the Strip. It's I visually, like, I know where it is, like in my mind, but it's past Venetian. It's past, I think it's past the Wynn, isn't it? Isn't it like in between like Wynn and Stardust, or not Stardust? Fucking, it's not there anymore. Resorts World.
Yeah, it's somewhere around there. It's on the north end of the Strip.
Yeah, it's kind of like. It's like before Resorts World, but it's after where like the Frontier used to be. It's like in that little gap, I think. And they go there, so I know that's their thing. When the show is over, they go there and they get tacos. So, yeah, there's definitely some food rituals at the trade show for sure.
Is Alan trying to go for another record tonight?
What do you mean?
Comments. He
Really?
has been on a tear since Thursday night.
I just lit up the Perdomo 30th Sungrown. Oh, I got ash all over myself like a fucking slob. So here's the thing, and I've said this publicly many times. When it comes to sun-grown cigars specifically, Perdomo is usually a brand that I hold to a high standard because they're sun-grown specifically. And Fuente, I really like this. Fuente does really great sun-grown. Perdomo does some of the best sun-grown, and it's funny. The majority of what I smoke from Perdomo is usually sun-grown, but I'm actually smoking the sun-grown last of the 3. And again, it starts out just so smooth, just like
I normally consider usually the sun-growns usually the most are the strongest of the 3.
Mm-hmm.
It's usually Connecticut Maduro sun-grown if you look at the Perdomo portfolio.
I'm telling you, for a sun-grown and a Perdomo sun-grown at that. And I'm at the foot where, most of that initial rush is. It's a smooth sun-grown. It's a very smooth sun-grown.
Yep.
It's like 20th and the Habano and you get a lot of spice in the beginning. There's spice here, but it's not like the other sun-growns that he makes. This is a very refined sun-grown cigar. Very, very good. Very, very good. I think. I just started this cigar, but early prediction. If I was to rank the three, I would say Connecticut, then the Sungarone, then the Maduro on the 30th anniversary. My opinion. Not that the Maduro wasn't great. I thought that they were all really great, and actually probably some of the best out of Perdomo overall. But definitely the Connecticut and the Sungrown, I think, are my strong favorites so far in this line. Very excited for those.
I've heard nothing but excellent things about these cigars.
Oh yeah. I think that these cigars truly stand different. And the other thing about these that I find interesting is the price point. I mean, think about what these are, and when you smoke them, I think it'll also add this to you. But $12 to $14 is the range. I mean, for what they are, it's pretty good.
For what they are, and just that packaging, that packaging, you have to really see it in person to get the justice done to it. I love the packaging. I think they really knocked it out of the park with it. It's not over the top, but it kind of fits in with the Perdomo mantra, I would say.
Yep.
And look, I saw the samples of those cigars, and they look beautiful. I mean, they just there was a lot of work. Like I said, Nick's got the 30th anniversary line. It's key because this has got to be a flagship line for Perdomo for many, many years to come. So, you think about the 10th and the 20th did that. Now the 30th has to do the same thing.
Yep.
So, it's an important release, and they didn't cut corners on it, and they didn't rush it to market.
Nope.
They did a great job on it.
One of the things that, every manufacturer does things differently, but Perdomo, like Nick talked about on the show, like when they come out with a new cigar, like it literally takes them years and years to make that happen. Because
they only do one release a year max, yeah.
Even that, sometimes they don't release something every year. I mean,
they didn't last year, yeah.
They did. Well, this was supposed to be last year, but even the year before that, I mean, they did the 10th anniversary was kind of redone.
So was the Immenso. It was kind of like a rebranding.
But I mean, you talk about something brand new from the ground up. I mean, they take their time, and they do it right, and it shows.
That was my pick for cigar of the trade show, by the way, was the Perdomo 30th. Because when I do my top 5, I want to look at something that's an ongoing production.
Yeah.
So that was my pick. I think it was up there with the most talked about cigars. So I don't know what your pick was, but yeah, I think it lived up to it. Even though I didn't try it, I didn't have to try it. I had to see the reaction. I see the reaction of people smoking it. I see the reaction of people seeing it. And like I said, it was an easy pick. I think that was as far as some limited release can steal some spotlight. I get it, but certainly we talked about the My Father's Tatuai thing. But as far as a release that people are going to talk about for years to come, that Perdomo 30th is the release. I can't find another cigar out there that was a regular production cigar that people are going to talk about for years to come. Maybe there's a few.
Well, another thing about the 30th that I thought was interesting is this is kind of, as you know, Nicholas Perdomo and Arthur Kemper were behind the packaging. And
I heard the story that they he told us this in the interview.
Yeah.
He didn't see the packaging until the night before.
He didn't.
They kept it. They kept that. They only unveiled that whole thing at the trade show, but he saw it the night before.
Yeah. Well, I thought that was important, and he also talked about Nicholas is working on as much to. I don't think Nicholas wanted him to say this, but it's out there. So he had kind of let it slip that Nicholas is working on something using Cameroon wrapper.
But they've used Cameroon before. Perdomo's done Cameroon releases before.
Right, but this is something I guess Nicholas is doing on his own, and Nicholas had some input on this, and Nicholas and Arthur did the packaging. You're at that point where, Nick's, starting to kind of, let some of the reins go down the line because, you got to start to think he's not going to be around forever. And
Nick's running the company like he's running the company as a CEO should run the company.
Yeah,
a CEO is not to micromanage, and he's running like a good CEO. So I give him a lot of credit, and those two guys are exceptional people. Bear's going to have Nicholas on tomorrow on his show, by the way.
Yeah, I saw
Nicholas, and that's a great. I've been wanting to get him on too, and Bear and I try not to conflict the shows, and I actually gave Nicholas, and he goes, "No, Coop, I got him on in 2 weeks." I'm like, "Oh, Nicholas will put you off a little bit, but yeah, we always try not to bump that up. But yeah, I mean, I talked to Nicholas a lot in the last few months. He did our pre-show with us, which and he's great. He's a great. I mean, the Perdomos have just always been there for us. I've said they've never always been there for us. Always been there for us. I mean, we just they're great partners
same.
to have. Yeah, they're great. They're good. How can you say yeah? And the work they do, Janine is wonderful too. Which she does an amazing job. I think she keeps everything in order. So we were texting a little last night for a bit, and then she reminded me of all the shows, like so.
Yep.
I know I follow all this. Like it's all good. So it's all good. So they're good partners to have. So yeah, I'm really happy about the. I didn't smoke the 30th yet. I'll smoke it. I'll smoke it. Don't ask. But
one of the things I was gonna ask you about was so outside of Perdomo 30th, and we've talked a lot about the 30th. Did you smoke any of the stuff from Hoya de Nicaragua yet?
Oh yeah. Okay, let's talk about that.
Mm-hmm.
So I mentioned that the best cigar I had at the show was
a bag here. Go ahead.
Okay. The best cigar I had at the show was the
This is
La
the
Romana
PCA
Cuba
bag.
Connecticut. Yeah. What is the PCA bag? Your PCA bag.
Yeah, this is
Okay.
everything.
So the best cigar I had after the trade show was the Cinco and Cinco.
Yep.
By far. Knocked it. I think it was better than the Cinco de Cadas, at least in my initial first impression. I only had one of those, but yeah, they knocked that one out of the park.
I'm trying to find it.
It's in a coffin, isn't it?
No.
See, mine was in a coffin.
Really?
See, but they gave me one in a coffin, but here's the thing.
Kevin
my
bagged
guys,
all these up.
so I don't take these. My guys get all picks of the samples before I do. They leave me stuff that, and they're generous what they leave me. But I say take as much as you want because I'm not reviewing these cigars. So there's no point in me taking them back. You guys, I want you guys to enjoy it. You worked hard, and the coffin they did leave me, and I smoked it, and it was definitely the best cigar I had post trade show. And I think there's two different ones, so I would highly recommend. I mean, that's the green label one we're talking about.
The yes, so the Cinco de Cinco, I smoked one the other night, and I thought it was really good. And I had another one in here. So I know where it is. It's not in the bag. The other thing that Hoya did was they are bringing back the Clásico original.
I smoked that. I smoked a few of those. I mean, that's always been a favorite cigar of mine.
Yeah.
I've reviewed that years ago. To me, it's one of the best Connecticut shade cigars out of Nicaragua. Great cigar.
And I thought that was really good. I think I've pretty much smoked all the stuff from Hoya that I've needed to smoke. And again, I was blown away. I thought it was Hoya is just one of those brands right now, man, that I'm really impressed.
They're definitely.
Oh,
yeah, and they went in and had a good trade show. They had a really good trade show.
Yeah, there it is, right there.
Yeah.
Cinco de Cinco.
That's it. If you haven't spoke it yet,
which I think it's shipping soon too. So I think it should be out on shelves pretty soon. Shouldn't have to.
Yeah,
wait too long
it is.
To get it.
It was I remember when Decadas came out. I smoked it. They had a party with Drew Estate, and I smoked it at the party, and that was my cigar of the show that year. This is right up there with the. I mean, honestly, it's 1 and 1A here, because that Ashton was really good.
Mm-hmm.
That's why. So, but
the La Roma de Cuba, Connecticut.
The La Roma de Cuba, Connecticut is one of the best. Jay actually had smoked it before the trade show, and he's like, Coop, he was really high on it. We all had it at the trade show for the first time, so it was out a few weeks already, and I'm like, this thing is legit. I can't believe that the Garcias, my father factory, made a Connecticut like that, because I have not been a big fan of that Connecticut's that they've done over the years. But this was the real deal. It was a tremendous job on that. So
Speaking of
I know that.
Connecticut and my father, another cigar that recently came out that I haven't had yet, but I've heard nothing but rave reviews about, is the Las Calaveras EL 2023.
Dave Burke actually just sent me some. I got him at the house. He sent me two. He sends them to me so I can send him some, but he bought some from me to keep.
Mm-hmm.
So I have that sampler pack. I just got those. So and because we also save those. We do our dedication show every year, so we save one for the dedication show, which we do every spring.
Yep.
So yeah, we have those. I'm in possession of those right now. It's a broadleaf, so I'm pretty excited. I thought, some are better than others. The Las Calaveras is what I'll say. Some I like better than others, but this is a broadleaf one. I haven't done a broadleaf one in a while.
And I love Connecticut broadleaf. So Jay said this Las Calaveras this year was the best in almost a decade.
I'll see. Yeah. I thought the best one I had was the Mexican, the green one.
So far for me, it's been the original, the 2014.
Yeah.
That's been my favorite.
Yeah.
I mean, again, I'm a big fan of the Las Calaveras brand, and I haven't had all of them, but I've had probably like half of them. And
you know what cigar I don't like from Karen Heads, and it's almost sacrilegious to say it. It's Four Kicks. The original Four Kicks. I like the Maduro, but the Four Kicks line has never clicked with me. It's too floral for me. I just never have gotten into but I like a lot of other Crown Head cigars. I like the Carems. I like the when they had Mas Marias. I like the Calva. I'm not a big Mil Diaz guy either.
Really? I like the Mil Diaz.
No, I was disappointed with the Mil Diaz. It didn't click with me. But for the most part, I like Crown Head stuff. But not every line's for everybody.
It's true. Again,
I know people. George Brightman will rave about the Mil Diaz line. He will disagree with me vehemently on it, saying Mil Diaz is a great line. I'm sure it is. It's just not my profile.
Sorry, I had to touch that up. Crown Heads is another one of those brands where most of the stuff I really enjoy. Las Calaveras is always good. I like the Mil Diaz. The Le Patissier is good in certain sizes.
It's good. It wasn't good in that Lonsdale, but the sizes they came out with last year were much better.
Yes.
Oh, La Verita was really good. The new that $20 Crown Head cigar I thought was excellent. And I'm smoking the Alec Bradley Magic Toast 5-year anniversary cigar. This is a great cigar.
Kevin loves that cigar.
Oh, I'm a big fan. The Magic Toast blend showed up on the Coop list several times. This won't be eligible for the Coop list this year, but it could be eligible next year.
Jay said, blasphemy. Four Kicks, while not a good seller at our store, is quite good. I never liked Mil Diaz. My go-to is Jericho Hill.
I just didn't like Four Kicks. I know. Believe me, I know it's blasphemy because I've heard it from people. That cigar to me is.
Oh, your own guy just got you too. Four Kicks and Four Kicks Maduro.
Four Kicks Maduro is great. Four Kicks Maduro is fantastic. Made my top 25. The Four Kicks line is too floral, and Bear knows I don't like that profile.
Yeah.
To me, I remember when it was the most disappointed I ever was in a cigar was when Four Kicks came out, and it was like blah. I'm like, what is this? And people are calling it. It almost won the half of consensus that year. The year it came out, and I'm like, I didn't get it. So it's Dave Burke loves it, but the Four Kicks Maduro made my top 25. I wish they'd make more of them. They don't make them anymore.
Yeah.
They haven't been doing a lot of production of them, I should say. They do make them.
So I have samples of it, and I haven't smoked it yet, and it's on my list. Maybe I'll smoke one later tonight. But I was curious. So Crown Heads also released or unveiled a new line at the show this year.
That was the one outside the La Verita. That was great cigar. I thought it was fantastic.
Yeah. So that one is on my list to try. I'm trying to think of what else from the show really either has my attention.
The Oscar stuff was pretty good. The Oscar Valadares stuff.
Yeah, they came out with a new 2012, didn't they?
Yeah. That's the one I haven't smoked, but I'll tell you what. Alex and Abe smoked it this morning. And it was really good. That's the one I have. I'm gonna smoke it next week. But I've had the blue one. But I've had the Leaf by Oscar Criollo and the Oscar Connecticut, and they were really good.
Yeah.
I thought Oscar had a really good trade show this year because his three most successful brands are 2012, the Oscar, and Leaf by Oscar.
Yeah.
And he extended all three of those. For like, he was doing this like McFly stuff and Wild Hunter, and I'm like, what is this you're doing? Like, go back to these tried and true brands that you've been establishing and expand them, and that's what he did this year. I mean, Wild Hunter was a huge disappointment.
Yeah, the 2012 line is probably my favorite. I mean, all of them are good. I really like the Connecticut, but yeah, I mean, they're some of the best cigars from Oscar I've had. I think probably my favorite line. Leaf by Oscar is good too, and it's funny you mentioned Leaf by Oscar because I know so many people that look at it, and for those who don't know, it comes wrapped in a leaf. And you take the leaf off, and there's a regular cigar. You don't.
Yeah.
You believe how many people I run into who think you smoke it like that, and I'm like, no, you take it out. But there's also people who like who like look down on it, like it's funny, and I'm like, it's a good cigar, and they think because of the way it's presented, it's like gimmicky, and I'm like, hey, it's a good cigar though.
It is a little gimmicky, but so Jim Robinson, retailer out of Pittsburgh, was distributing that line for a long time. And it was a monster. That brand grew. I think it went to over 1,000 stores at one time. But Jim, I don't think really wanted to be in the distribution business. He's kind of very laid back. So he told me he is now in the process of transitioning everything to Oscar. They're calling it kind of a merger. Jim was at the booth, so that's why you're seeing Oscar Valadares promote the Leaf by Oscar more now, because they really, if you go into their booth a couple of years ago, you wouldn't even see a Leaf by Oscar in the booth. So I don't know what I'm wrong about. I guess it's the 4 kicks.
Couple of comments here. I just want to read. Jay said, William Cooper, if you don't like floral, you don't like aged opus. Please.
I don't like aged opus. I don't like aged opus. I like my opuses not very aged.
Bear said it makes me cry when Coop is wrong, which I think is hilarious. Charles asked me, any updates on that 30th Sun now that you're into a little bit? I'm on a pre-order list for that one, and I'm debating getting on one for the Connecticut based on your feedback. So I would say, so far I really enjoy it. And again, I'm going to stick with, I think it's this and the Connecticut that are my favorite so far. It's a smooth sun grown. I mean, there's spice notes in it, and there's character to it, but it's very smooth and refined for a sun grown, and I really enjoy it. And I think it's something that people should definitely check out if they're really into sun grown, because I think it's kind of different, and I think that people will find it interesting to try. So yeah, I mean, the sun grown is really good. Jay brought up this. I had this one too. I don't know if you had this. Papa Saka was really good.
Both. I have not had the delay yet, but the Suma and the Papa Saka were excellent.
I have a Suma with me. I was going to smoke.
Mike said to smoke it right. Mike told me to smoke it right away, and I did.
So I got one with me. I'm going to smoke. Papa Saka was good. I thought that the Papa Saka had a little more strength to it.
Did.
You taste a lot more of the wrapper. Smaller ring gauge. Makes sense. What's one of the things I noticed right away? Like what's the 7.5 by 54? Is that what the Saka Khan was?
Saka Khan. Yep.
That was a good cigar. I really liked that one. Longer, thicker.
It grew on me. It grew on me.
I know it did. Trust me.
Yeah. So,
but Papa Saka was good.
I'm going to make a prediction.
Okay.
Half-wheel consensus winner will be Papa Saka this year. Stone Cold Lock. Put it in the bank.
Stone Cold Lock, put it in the bank?
If that cigar, yeah, it's going to be Papa Saka. The reaction with the media has just been, how can I put it? The media loves Saka, is what I'll just say. And when I'm seeing this, this is a much bigger reaction Papa Saka's had to Saka Khan. And Saka Khan won the consensus last year. So I predict it wins the consensus easily this year. It won't even be close.
I mean, I could see it. Nothing's guaranteed, but I could see it.
Well, I could see it too, and Saka knows how to work the system and make it happen.
Okay, all right. I guess
he's going to get those cigars out to people. That's what's going to happen. He knows what to do, but I think it's a legitimate. I don't think he has to get the cigars out to people this year. I think people will actually go and seek it out in the media. Because you see, this is, we talked about this, and you and I have had this conversation too. I'm very big on first in, first out reviews. So
Yep.
I don't bump anybody. So I don't necessarily publish it in that order, but I smoke it in that order.
Another
I don't fast track anyone. I don't ever fast track anybody.
Another cigar that technically was out before the show, but made its full showing at the show, or full release, I should say, was McAuliffe Black.
Oh, home run! I've had the cigar. They knocked it out of the park with
For
that.
$8 too.
Yeah.
That's really hard to beat.
Yeah, and that is Coop eligible now because it was released before the show, the same as the Rambo Q. It is eligible to make my list this year. So it will be it would be a cigar review probably in October. But yeah, I thought the Toro, I like the Toro a little better than the Robusto, but they're both really good.
I mean, based on the review, it's kind of hard. Like, look, when it comes to the list, I know we don't like to say like what's going to be on it till they come out, but I mean, like you always say, if you follow along the reviews, I mean, you can kind of figure it out too. It got a 91, and everyone on the team has loved it. And outside of the performance factor, the value, and I mean, I don't know where it ranks on the list, but I can tell you right now, it's on the list somewhere. I mean, it's hard to say it's.
I don't know if it's top 10 yet. It
Okay.
may be, but it's definitely got a shot to land on the Coop list, is what I'll say.
Yeah.
But I don't know if it's yet top 10. This year there's some very good competition on the Coop list. So there's a few cigars, and I have another review coming out of something that's a potential another very high scorer. So yeah,
Honey
I
and
think this is it
right here. Honey and molasses. Anyway, sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah.
Oh, you know what else? You know what else? I won't be eligible in your list, and based on when it ships, it may not be eligible for mine, depending on when it ships. But there's also the new Alfonso coming out that.
Yeah, it won't be eligible on mine. Yeah.
No. If it's in by Halloween, it's eligible.
Well, Alfonso nailed a 92 on Coop, so it's tied for the highest score, and it's in play for a very high spot. It's gonna land on the list.
Yeah.
The Byron 1850 may land on the Coop list too from last year. I didn't think this year was as big for selected as last year, by the way. Just because all the stuff they had been announced or seen before. But what they had was very good. The only thing that was really quote unquote new from them was the Atabey 10-year, right? Because the black we knew about, like we knew that was happening a couple years ago. The Atabey Humidor we knew about. We knew about the Grand Selection last year. So there were no real surprises that they had this year.
No.
Other than an Atabey 10 years. Someone told me he's doing a 20-year. He has a 20-year project going on, too. I don't know how. I didn't ask Oliver this, by the way. It wouldn't surprise me.
A 20-year aged?
Yep.
So
why wouldn't you try to do? I could see him. He puts
like
him away
Oro
for
Blanco.
10 years.
Isn't Oro Blanco 20-year aged?
No, I don't think it's that much. These are post-rolled, though. These are post-rolled cigars.
So
the tobaccos maybe.
What is it with Oro Blanco then that I'm thinking of?
That's the Davidoff, right?
Yeah, the Davidoff Oro Blanco.
I think the tobaccos are the ones that are aged. But I know it's not aged 20 years.
Oh, okay, that's what it is. Okay.
Yeah. I have reviewed the Oro Blanco, by the way. It got a 95.
Now, my understanding with the Oro Blanco is that's not going to be around forever because they only have they're not like continuously aging those tobaccos. Isn't it only from like one or two batches of tobaccos that they actually have?
They definitely have limited tobaccos with that.
But I thought like when the Oro Blanco tobacco is gone, that it's gone. It's not like it's gonna be just continuous.
I believe there is some with that. I believe that is the case.
Because a big Davidoff retailer had told me something about that.
I just went into my review and it says the tobaccos have been aged for 12 years after harvest. So that's probably what it is.
Okay.
Yeah.
John asked about Rojas. I mean,
I didn't go there.
I haven't smoked a lot about. I haven't smoked a lot of Rojas.
Yeah, we didn't even cover them. Yeah, so I can't comment.
Not a fan. I'm not a fan of the street tacos.
Overrated in my book. I'm not saying that's bad. Just it hasn't clicked. You and I had this conversation, I think, last year.
Yep. I can't say a lot about Rojas just because I haven't smoked enough of their stuff.
Yeah, we didn't cover them, so it's a little unfair too to do that this year.
I think my guys went to that booth. I can't remember. I didn't go, but the other two might have gone. I can't remember. If they were here, then I'd let them chime in. I think Kevin and Mitchell may have gone. We'll have to ask Kevin next week or the next show when he comes back about Rojas.
I am looking at the smoking tobacco video list, and I just had it. Because you have the full video list out there.
Yep.
So I do believe I saw Rojas. Let me go. Yeah, Rojas was on there. Yep, Rojas is on. So there's a So you guys have a video out there with Rojas.
All right, so I'll have to ask the boys about them because I know.
Yeah, that would probably be a better comment for them. Yeah.
Yeah. Jay Davis, Mirafel, Mayer. Is that how you say it? Mayer or Meyer?
Mayer.
And Richard both have 20-plus year aged wrappers, but that is not post-roll. Jeremiah starting setting aside tobacco over 20 years ago each year for this project.
Something that Polito Cabano was also in there. No, I'm kidding about that.
David, why hasn't Perdomo ever been on CA Top 25?
Politics.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a Nick. I think this. Yeah, it's. I don't want to put words in Nick's mouth, but I believe there's a politics issue with that. Similar to soccer.
Yeah. And
he should be. He should be. That's a shame.
Jay said the New York Town by Stolen Thrones, which is made by Rojas, is quite good. I haven't had that.
Stolen Throne was a booth I didn't get to. I don't really have a relation. I was talking to Bear. It's one of those I have to build a relationship with those guys. I just don't know Lee and those guys, and so I have to get a relation. That's a company I don't have a good relationship. Not that it's a bad relationship. I just don't have a relationship. It's tough, going to trade show. We're trying to cover all these other booths.
My B&N Cam. Yeah, I mean, I've heard that. John, I know a couple of retailers who carry Rojas, and they say it moves well.
Alva will tell you it was one of the fastest moving firecrackers they had too.
Yeah, it does. From what I hear from retailers, it does move. I personally I don't want to comment on it because I don't feel like I have enough to comment on. But I do hear that. I'll agree with you.
Yeah.
But in terms of stuff we saw at the show, I mean, in terms of like new core line products that came out, Matt Booth is bringing out the Johnny Tobacco as a core line, and
I smoked it. Oh, that was a good time.
I smoked like 5.
It's completely different than the old one now.
Yeah.
Than the Davidoff one. Yeah, it's Connecticut Shade.
But it's very good.
Very good. So Matt likes that cigar. When Bear and I did the Zoom with him, I was smoking it, and Matt was just glowing. I've not seen him get excited about one of his own cigars like that in a long time.
Yeah, and he's bringing it out in a 20-count Robusto, Toro, and then the 10-count Perfecto that the limited he came out with last year.
Yeah.
Which I can't remember if the Perfecto is still going to be on the limited side, but the Toro and the Robusto are definitely going to be core line.
Yeah.
Availability, which is great.
Yeah.
I thought they were fantastic. They had when you go to the general booth, all the cigars that were being highlighted, they had a big basket with samples. So like I smoked one, I was like, "Damn, this is good," and I kept going back and grabbing another one because I'm like, "This is good."
Now I thought Matt had a good trade show, but I got to be very honest. The rumor was a huge letdown.
The what?
The rumor, what came out earlier this year.
The rumor, yeah.
I thought it was a major disappointment. I don't know how else to say it, because that original Daruma was something special. This thing didn't even come close to that. So I was very disappointed with that one. And I'm going to be very straight. I know it was a charity cigar. I was disappointed in the Namakubi as well. Not as disappointed as I was with Daruma, but it wasn't Namakubi was... I don't know if they could ever recreate that blend they had with Davidoff. I just don't. that was an incredible blend that they did. Special blend. So it just might not be possible.
The other thing about Room 101 that I hear is there's rumors that we could see the return of Chief Cool Arrow.
That's not a rumor. It's happening.
Yeah. Oh no, I'm sorry.
He's kinda,
no, I'm sorry. Not Chief Cool Arrow.
No, he said Chief Cool Arrow was coming
No,
back.
I know he did. No, but that's not the one. Uncle Lee. I hear the rumors that
I've heard
Uncle
I heard
Lee
and,
is coming back.
Justin, don't mess up Uncle Lee. You know, we yeah. I doubt General's gonna have cereal box packaging though. I'll tell you that.
Yeah, I don't see that happening.
Uncle Lee was Uncle Lee was a popular cigar in Charlotte too. I'd like to see the Master Collections come back. Those were great cigars. Great packaging. They were just really luxurious cigars, I thought. And then the original stuff like the old Room 101 San Andreas was good. The old Room 101 Honduras was good. They had a Room 101 Connecticut, which Johnny Tobacco reminds me a lot about.
Yeah.
The 14th anniversary was extremely good too, by the way. Very good, nice, rich tobacco taste.
You
to
smoked
that.
it?
Yes.
I have them with me. I haven't smoked them yet though. But yeah.
I smoked it. It was I smoked it. Very good. I think it might be my favorite of the anniversaries. I know, and that's some good company it's up with.
The 11th was good.
Yeah.
The 13th was good.
The 12th was good. I thought the 12th he was going to bring back as a regular production at one point.
Really?
Yeah. I thought. I know, but yeah, they So I thought that here's what I'm going to say about I thought Ford's did not have a wow factor cigar. I agree with Charlie on that. But they had a lot of compelling releases. The Room 101 stuff was compelling. The Alec Bradley stuff is compelling. I'm smoking. I wasn't thrilled about Post Embargo coming back. I'll be honest with you on that. But there's a new Fine and Rare. There's a Magic Toast 5th anniversary, which just is a great expression of the blend. I think that the Room 101 stuff did very well. So, Diesel, Justin's got that. So I thought, and that was an extremely busy booth. I mean, you can't say that booth wasn't busy.
Very busy.
Like it was very busy, that booth. So, I think it was one of the again, Ford's is kind of a new. I have trouble understanding how Ford's is different than General. If you ask me how Ford's is different from General, I can't answer the question. It's to me, it just seems like they literally divided this into column A and column B, the brands. That's all I can say. I can't say this, but what I can say this year at the trade show, most of the Ford's releases were under $10. There was a couple that went over, and then of course the La Gloria Cubana, A Street, and the Albury Fine and Rare were the ultra premium over 20. But for the most part, all that Ford stuff was under $10. Very affordable.
Is that Garrett?
Johnny Tobacco, it's very reasonably priced. So
what's the price on that?
Really, I want to say it's 8 to 11 or something like that. I think the Perfecto is the one that's a little more. Or the Perfecto is the one that's a little higher price, but that's limited too. But I thought, they, like I said, I think Ford's did a much better job at, there's a lot of variety there, and there's something for every for the everyday consumer. But was there this wow factor release like Cinco and Cinco, or the La Union that we just talked about with Pete? No, there wasn't that release. I'd say that probably the two best releases I've had from Ford's are this Alec Bradley and the Johnny Tobacco. I would say those are the two best. And Johnny Tobacco has a chance to be a star for a long time out of that booth. So I think that could be a line we see for many, many years. I think it could be a big hit from Matt.
I think so too.
I don't like the branding, I'll be honest with you. But it's Matt Booth. It's a good expression of Matt Booth. But I think it's a silly name. I would rather call that Room 101 Connecticut. To me, Matt's got to be. Well, I get it because Matt's got a unique expression of himself, so he's got to be true to who he is. So I get it. I prefer it to be a Room 101 Connecticut, in my book.
Okay, that's fair. Did you know?
But
do you know what he's doing with it though? So if you go to Room 101 Brands, his jewelry side or his jewelry and other products, his
Yeah.
non-tobacco entity that he still owns.
Yeah. No, he owns it.
He has Johnny Tobacco statues.
Does that make sense? Okay, there's a lot of sense with that. And I'm assuming there's a
Did
Chief
you see
Coolaro
him?
one. No, but I mean,
And they're like $3,000. They're like solid silver.
His stuff is not cheap.
Oh yeah, no,
It's good
cool.
quality. You know, Matt Booth was the jeweler to the stars. I mean, that's who he is. You know, Guy Fieri he does the Guy Fieri line. I know that.
Yeah, he does.
He
makes jewelry for Guy. Yeah.
Yeah. So, but I do think Johnny Tobacco is probably one of the better regular production general releases that I've seen in a long time. Yeah. So they did. So I have like I said, I think Charlie had a right to criticize my pick, and I think Charlie's looking for that. Charlie's a little more into a limited edition. He gets more excited about a limited edition than I do. I don't get excited about a lot of limited editions. The Pete my father one, I'm excited about though.
Me too. I think, and it's 4 different blends, if I remember, because like there's 2 different boxes, and each box is 2 different blends. So it's 4 different. Yeah,
Corojo and Habano are the first, and then Broadleaf Sumatra is the second.
Yeah, which sounds about right for them.
Yeah.
Garrett Robinson's here. Shout out to Garrett Robinson. John asked.
Great boost. He did a great job with the boost, by the way.
Yeah, that was
Don
cool.
Dortero had a very nice boost. Yeah, really nice boost.
Yeah, I agree. They had a really awesome booth, and I like they had the little garden there, which is cool. Do you see that?
Yeah, and a little smoke coming out. It was really cool.
Yeah,
but it was it was a nice booth. It was comfortable for a small booth. It felt roomy. You know what I mean? It was. Juan's a great guy. We've had Juan on the show, and I got to meet Juan in person. That was a booth we sat with those guys for a little while, you know, and they were so hospitable. I haven't smoked the cigar yet, but I will.
Yeah, they had a whole thing of Andullo in the booth too. Did you see that?
We smoked the burritos. Yeah, we smoked the burritos on it.
Yeah, that was really.
They did a nice job at that booth. One of the better design booths I saw at the trade show.
John had asked this question: do you think that Alec Bradley and Room 101 will still be on the map in 2 years?
All right, this is a really good question.
It is.
I want to give you a kind of. All right, so here's my thing on this, John. I don't think this year was a good indication for Alec Bradley, where the direction of Alec Bradley's going, because I believe all these projects were in the works. So the answer is, they were going to release these things anyway. The Fine and Rare was being planned. I believe that the 5-year anniversary of the Magic Toast was planned, and I believe they were going to bring Post-Embargo back. I believe all this. So it's TBD on that. Room 101, I think the same thing. I think that maybe Johnny Tobacco, it's a sign that at least for now they're going to try to push it with the brick and mortars. But the anniversary series is very limited, so the Payback series is the other one. So, but I haven't seen like Matt Booth create that new concept yet with Room 101. Right? He hasn't created a new concept yet. He's kind of worked off the Forest branding. The Rumor branding comes back now. The Johnny Tobacco comes back. They do another anniversary cigar, but where's the new concept from Matt? Where's the creative mind of coming out with something new? So I think that's why I also put it to be determined on that one as well. So the answer is in a couple of years, I think we'll know the answer to that, but I can't make that determination yet. It's a very good question.
Very good question. I think,
and that's not a knock. I just don't know the answer. I could be wrong on both fronts.
I agree. I think it's going to take some time. I think. I think those two brands could. I mean, because look, the thing is, we've seen General acquire brands that have just disappeared. I mean, Royal Agio, they acquired, and then like they made like the Balmoral brand, which I always thought the Balmoral brand was great. I loved that.
Ben Lee loved those cigars.
2 guys used to carry it. I used to smoke those. I thought they were great. And like now, I remember I thought about that the other day. I go, oh yeah. I'm like, whatever happened to Balmoral? I'm like, I haven't had that in a long time.
You want a little secret? They were producing them down at STG Esteli. I saw them producing them back in when I was down at Pro Sabor. So the question I have is, it hasn't been released yet. What are they going to do with it? I don't know. But they did not release it at the trade show this year. But so I think they're getting ready to kind of come back with it. But I absolutely saw it. I absolutely saw it at the factory.
Garrett's channeling Matt Booth right now. He said, "I'm curious what color socks y'all are wearing." Well, I got black socks on. That's me. That's for Garrett. Coop won't give you that, but I will. I got black short socks on. Okay.
It's Balmoral. So I saw it. So yeah, it's different packaging. That's the Balmoral Nicaragua. So I don't know if that's heading to catalog. I don't know what's happening. I don't know if it's heading to Europe. It could be heading to Europe, by the way. So, but all I know is I saw Balmoral being produced. Is what I could tell you.
Yeah, it's funny. It's funny when you see things like that happen. Because I remember 2018, 2019, I smoked a lot of Balmoral, and then all of a sudden it just.
Well, the acquisition happened to get the other properties from them.
Yep.
The cigarillo business, the machine made business. So that was an unfortunate byproduct of that.
Yep.
They were doing some very good releases of that. So
I can tell you're doing your research right now behind the.
I actually did see this I just saw that cigar on a European site. So apparently they're still selling it in Europe.
Which I believe is, I think I heard that, but I didn't know.
Yeah.
For sure.
So I just did a Google and I saw the picture of the blue band, and so it looks like it's not in the U.S. But who knows? They may bring it back to the U.S. at some point with FDA because it was discontinued strictly for FDA reasons.
Because of substantial equivalence.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't. Yeah. So that picture, like I said, the fact if you Google Balmoral Nicaragua, you'll see the blue band stuff show up on some European sites. So doesn't mean it's coming back here. Yeah.
I hope it does. I mean, I always enjoyed it.
Yeah, it's a good cigar. Good cigar. Ben Lee's a huge fan of those cigars. He has not forgiven Justin, by the way, for that.
Yeah, Garrett had said that was one acquisition that really sucked, in my opinion. I know it's one. It's one of the examples that I know everyone gave me, like when General bought Room 101 and Alec Bradley, and everyone's like, so what's gonna happen with those brands? Like, remember Royal Agio? That was the first thing that everyone said. Remember Royal Agio?
But all three were such different acquisitions, you can't really compare them.
It's true.
I think they have bigger plans for Alec Bradley than just to fold it into the catalog. I think Matt Booth has, obviously, what you just told me about the jewelry site and this. I think, obviously, there's some co-branding he's looking to do with that.
Yeah.
So maybe, Tarano was dead brand walking. It moved into a catalog. By the way, when I was at the factory, a ton of Tarano stuff being made still. So that's a catalog brand. It's not.
Yep.
What basically General did is they took Tarano out of the portfolio and they put Diesel in when that happened. They actually swapped them out. And I don't know, I'm sure they have reasons why they made that decision.
Be a question for Justin.
Yeah.
That's a Justin Andrews question.
Yeah.
John is the blue band synonymous with Nicaragua? I'm not sure on that one.
Might be just because of the color of the flag, but it used to be a maroon band. Yeah.
I'm looking at our time here. We're hitting the 3 hours.
We're very late. Yeah, we're at 3 hours almost.
Yeah, I gotta hop off this soon. This is
yeah, I did too.
This has been a long show.
I did too. Actually, I've been it was a 3 podcast day for me today. So
yeah, so I think we're gonna wrap it up here.
Yep, let's do that.
Great show. Lot was covered, both in cigars and from the food world. But no, thanks for being here for everyone. I appreciate it. Don't forget to go.
We appreciate everybody's comments and everything. Thank you, even Alan. So
no, really, it's fun when people engage. It makes the show more fun. So thank you guys. Don't forget to go to SmokeItTobacco.com for more news, reviews, and our PCA 2023 coverage brought to you by Drew Estate. Don't forget to like and subscribe wherever you get your podcast. On all the podcast apps, that's where we are, as well as our YouTube channel. And we're going to see you on Wednesday night with Michael Capolini from Toscano. We're going to be doing a Toscano pairing. And then we'll be back here on Spare Notes 2 weeks from tonight. And we will Kevin will be back with us, so we'll keep the conversation going. We'll have Kevin with us.
Yeah.
And that's all I got. Coop, you got anything else?
Yeah, we got some big shows next week. We're doing we changed our schedule a bit next week. So Monday is still Jukebox. We're going to be doing a NBA and music show, NBA basketball and music. We just recorded that. On Tuesday, we're actually doing the primetime show, which normally we do special edition. We are doing the Anarchy NFT show. So we have Les Mann, Abe the Bat, and Pete Johnson on that show. And then Wednesday is our deep dive, the Cigar Coop team, Coalition team. We'll be doing the deep dive of our perspectives of the trade show. There's some stuff I've held back that I haven't talked about yet. And, especially Bear and I did, by the way, if you haven't seen Bear and I show from last week, we did a show and we went a little behind the scenes of how Bear approached these interviews.
Yeah.
And look, he just he's a gifted person with interviews. And what I love about these interviews can be watched for years to come. So we got a little behind the scenes with Bear on the interviews, but now we're going to be getting a lot of different perspectives with the trade show, and that will kind of put a bow on our trade show coverage, at least some Coop on Wednesday. So we will be done with that. So stay tuned.
Yeah, stay tuned. We're still rolling our stuff out a little bit.
We'll be rolling our stuff out till mid-August. Excuse me.
Yeah, we're still rolling our stuff out. The guys are a little bit further behind, but we're still working on stuff.
You know what? We do 2 a days, and it's absorbable. People can absorb it that way. The write-ups take a long time. So I'm having to go back and validate. So, but they're worth it. So
absolutely. Well, guys, that's gonna do it for the Spare Note series this week. As I said, don't forget to like and subscribe, and we'll see you next time. Take care.